Chapter 932. The 10 corpse monsters released their source spirits. These source spirits were very special. They were all ghost skeletons. There was wind, fire, water, darkness, and thunder, but most of them had different attributes. Some were good at long-range attacks, and some were good at close combat. Ean's spirit's strength was pushed to the limit, and her source spirit was released. Chu Tian had seen many strange source spirits in his 2 lives. The young Miss Book's source spirit, Meng Yingying's mirror source spirit, and the Dongfang family's armament source spirit. These were all considered rare source spirits. Other than these, Chu Tian had seen mountains and rivers as source spirits, forests as source spirits, suns and moons as source spirits, and even gods and demons as source spirits like him. It was reasonable to say that no matter how strange it was, Chu Tian was used to it. But when he saw Ean's spirit's source spirit, he was still stunned. The space with Ean's spirit at the center was filled with darkness, being corroded by a strong death aura. Tombstones appeared around it, forming a graveyard in a short period of time. It was not a real graveyard. It was an image formed by spirit energy. In other words, it was Ean's spirit's source spirit. This fellow's source spirit was a graveyard. Chu Tian had never seen a graveyard as a source spirit before. There really were many strange things in this world. The 10 graves in Ean's spirit's graveyard source spirit had already been emptied. It was the 10 child source spirits from the graveyard source spirit that entered the Ean corpses, giving them the power of a source spirit. Each Ean corpse had some kind of connection with the Ean spirit. They had already become Ean spirit's incarnations and could use cultivation techniques with source spirits. Everything Ean's spirit had learned, she had already poured it into the Ean corpses through her source spirit, allowing each Ean corpse to have several perfection realm cultivation techniques. This is the Ean spirit scripture, created by this one. Ean spirit only cared about wildly laughing. The 10 corpse monsters spoke at the same time, speaking in place of Ean spirit. What will your Ean corpses use to fight this one? We haven't even started fighting yet. Don't be in a rush to talk big. All right, then I'll let you understand why you lost. The 10 corpse monsters were covered in demonic chi as they flew into the air. Countless ghosts came out of their bodies and finally gathered in their hands, forming a giant black seal. Profound Ean large hand seal. The 18 divine servants didn't even have a chance to make a move. The 10 incomparably fierce profound Ean large hand seals swept over, and they didn't have any strength to resist at all. They were instantly sent flying like kites with their strings cut. Meng Yingying saw this shocking scene, and her chin almost fell off from shock. My God, these corpse monsters can also use this kind of top-grade secret technique. Chun Bingyu said with a serious expression, they have Ean spirit's perfection realm cultivation injected into them. In terms of attack strength and aura, each corpse monster's attack power is close to the Vice Sect Master Endless Yin's. Although these corpse monsters are in the second true spirit layer, the corpse poison and strength of the corpse monsters aren't weak. Adding in Ean spirit's knowledge and several perfection realm cultivation techniques, they might not lose against a third true spirit layer cultivator. Meng Yingying said in a voice of disbelief, how could there be such a powerful cultivation technique in this world? Actually, this cultivation technique is flawed because the corpse monsters don't have spirit energy and their power comes from Ean's spirit. Chun Bingyu said with a calm expression. This also means that when Ean's spirit releases the 10 child source spirits in her main source spirit, her source spirit will be crippled and most of her spirit energy will be injected into the corpse monsters' bodies. This also means that Ean's spirit will be very weak right now. Although she still has the strength of a fourth true spirit layer cultivator, without the support of her source spirit, she can only be considered a normal fourth true spirit layer cultivator. Meng Yingying said with an emotional sigh. Although she's weakened, she still has the ability to protect herself. No matter what, she's still very, very strong. Ha ha ha. Ean's spirit was like a child that had received a lollipop. Defeated, they've all been defeated. Your Ean corpses can't even take a single blow. Interesting source spirit, interesting cultivation technique. He really is a talent. Chu Tian rubbed his chin as he looked at Ean's spirit. I found that I like you a bit. You should just come with me. Ean's spirit was filled with disgust. Scram. You've already lost. She swallowed her words before she could finish speaking, because the divine servants who had been knocked down by the fierce attack were now standing up one by one. Moreover, they seemed to be completely unharmed. Even after receiving such a fierce, profound Een palm imprint head-on, there wasn't even a scratch on their skin. Their dark golden skin was like polished copper, giving off a mysterious feeling of invulnerability. Your Een corpses seem a bit strange. What will shock you is yet to come. Een's spirit gave a snort. Wasn't it just a bit sturdy? She didn't believe there were Een corpses she couldn't break. Therefore, she used the corpse monster clones and used the Black Moon Sect's secret techniques. Profound Een large palm seal. Destruction cross swords. Extreme Een demonic shadow slash. The 10 corpse monsters fully displayed their strength. Basically anything Een's spirit knew, the 10 corpse monsters knew. With their perfection realm cultivation techniques and various secret techniques and martial arts, their attacks were like a wild storm. The divine servants were sent flying again and again, smashing into the ground, only to stand up again and again. Chu Tian seemed like he was purposely not fighting back. His hands were crossed in front of his chest like he was watching a play. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, as time went by, Een's spirit's mood went from shock to amazement, before finally turning into despair. No matter how fierce the attack was, even if the divine servants' bodies were destroyed, it was useless. They could recover in a short period of time. The consumption was increasing. She couldn't even kill a single divine servant. Why was it like this? Could it be that these Een corpses had undying bodies? Chu Tian saw Een's spirit say with a smile, I was hoping that the sect master would come up with something new, but I never thought that you would be at your wits' end this quickly. Your Een corpses don't seem like much. Een's spirit's pale little face instantly turned dark. The 10 corpse monsters were Een's spirit's pride, but they were like a joke in Chu Tian's eyes. This was simply trampling on her dignity. How could she not be angry? Chu Tian became even worse as he said, Actually, this kind of bet is very unfair to you. After all, our strengths aren't on the same level. If this is spread, others will say that I'm bullying a little girl. I suggest we change the method. Have your Een corpses stand together, and, as long as they can block a single attack from a divine servant, I'll lose this bet. You're going too far. Going too far. Een's spirit flew into a rage. Chu Tian shrugged his shoulders. This is just a small suggestion out of goodwill. If you really don't accept it, then I have no choice but to keep fighting like this. Een's spirit's teeth almost shattered from gritting. The 10 corpse monsters couldn't do anything to the 18 divine servants at all. The corpse monsters had already lost over half of their strength, and if they continued to be consumed, they wouldn't be able to fight anymore. All right, since you dare be this arrogant, then let me see what kind of arrogance you have. The 10 corpse monsters returned to form a triangular formation. They transmitted their strength to each other, instantly forming a black barrier. Each Een corpse was covered in a layer of black armor, releasing 2 layers of defense at the same time. Een's spirit said in a cold voice, This is a double layer of defense formed by the heavenly demon barrier and the heavenly demon armor. Let's see how you break it. A divine servant walked out, and her strength slowly spread out. There were runes on the surface of her dark golden skin, and a hazy glow slowly covered her body. It went from weak to bright before quickly returning, like a snow-white cocoon tightly wrapping around the divine servant's body. Een's spirit could clearly feel the energy released from the divine servant's body. Although it wasn't strong, it gave people a feeling of a high and mighty deity descending. The divine servant's aura quickly accumulated during this process, just like countless rivers gathering together to form an ocean. The divine servant suddenly cut her arm, and dark golden blood flowed out of her skin. Een's spirit had attacked the divine servant for a long time, but the divine servant had not shed a single drop of blood from beginning to end. It was like this monster did not have any blood, and the dark golden blood flowed down her arm, finally covering it like a layer of wax. Prepare. My attack is about to come. With Chu Tian's kind reminder, the divine servant's power was released, and her aura was condensed to the peak. It was like a cannonball as it charged in front of the 10 corpses. The light around its body shined brightly as it suddenly raised its wax-like right arm and heavily punched the black barrier. The divine servant's white light gathered in her right arm, and when it was released from her fist, the white light was mixed with large amounts of dark golden light. This attack was not considered strong, not even reaching the third true spirit layer. In terms of energy, it was impossible for it to break the barrier. However, the result of a drop of water falling on the rain cloth and a drop of magma falling on the rain was completely different. The power of the divine servants was mixed with divine power, and now, with the support of the god's blood that could break through any curse or darkness, the black barrier did not have the slightest bit of resistance, and was almost completely shattered in an instant. The protective cultivation techniques around the corpse monsters all collapsed. The 10 corpse monsters seemed like they had been washed by magma, instantly releasing smoke from their 7 orifices as their bodies turned black, falling to the ground one by one. At this time, after the divine servant released all the energy in her body, she also fell to the ground. Everyone was stunned. The 10 corpse monsters that the Black Moon sect was proud of. They had been defeated by a single punch from a divine servant. Ean's spirit could not accept this reality no matter what. After being stunned for several minutes, she suddenly screamed out, "No, my corpse monsters, you bastard! Do you know how long I used to refine them? Destroyed. You destroyed them all. I'll kill you. I'll definitely kill you." Ean's spirit was like an angry gambler, or like a child whose last toy had been snatched away. In short, the bet had already been thrown to the back of her mind. Even if she had to kill all the hostages, Ean's spirit would kill this damn fellow. This bastard had destroyed all her years of hard work. Why is the sect master so angry? Your corpse monsters have not been destroyed. They can still be used after being repaired. Chu Tian ignored Ean's spirit's killing intent and anger as he said with a face that was asking for a beating. But after seeing the might of the divine servant, can you still look at these normal things? Ean's spirit was suddenly silent as her face was filled with defeat and dejection. She looked at the divine servant with an incomparable look of envy. Comparing her carefully refined corpse monsters to these divine servants, it was like comparing a dung pit stone to a top-quality gem. Chu Tian said in a bewitching voice, "These divine servants are my work, and I have some leftover materials, so I can turn your Ean corpses into divine servants." Really? Ean's spirit revealed a look of joy, as if she had forgotten her hatred for Chu Tian. However, she immediately became vigilant. Don't think that you can buy the entire Black Moon sect like this. Little sister, this isn't right. Chu Tian, never liked taking advantage of people, especially a minor like you. Chu Tian shook his head. Cooperation, it's cooperation. The Black Moon sect and Miracle Commerce will cooperate. We will both win. You're not allowed to call me little sister. This one is older than you. Ean's spirit thought of something. Wait, you said you're Chu Tian? Miracle Commerce is Chu Tian? Sect Master has heard of this one's little name. It truly is an honor. Can we have a proper talk? Since we're talking about cooperation, you should at least show a bit of sincerity. Chu Tian released Endless Ean and waved his hand at Chun Bingyu. Chun Bingyu understood and immediately released the seal, freeing the Black Moon sect elders and protectors from their frozen state. He released the hostages like this. He was too bold. The Black Moon sect disciples saw this and immediately surrounded the 3 of them. You can all leave. Ean's spirit called out, stopping the sect disciples. She looked at Chu Tian. Good courage, you really are someone. Let's go in and talk. Chapter 9:33. One of the great Zhou country's 6 famous mountains, the Heavenly Ean Mountain, was an ancient ruin. The Black Moon sect's ancestor excavated the ruins and obtained the inheritance of the ancient Heavenly Ean sect, creating this powerful sect. The mountain protecting array has been opened. Please come with us. Many thanks. This is how it should be. The Ghost Flame and Ice Demon brothers were very respectful to Chu Tian. Without Brother Chu, how could we be here today? But Brother Chu, We have to remind you that the Black Moon sect's elders and protectors don't have good tempers, so we hope you can pay attention to your words. Chu Tian agreed. The Black Moon sect cultivation technique leaned towards demonic cultivators, so this kind of cultivator's interest would be affected and they would become angry easily. This was also the reason why demonic cultivators weren't easy to get along with. The three of them followed the secret path into a deep valley. On both sides were all kinds of fierce statues and Black Moon sect disciples guarding them. The large illusion array completely blocked the five senses. If it wasn't for the two brothers opening the mountain protecting array and revealing this path, others wouldn't be able to find the entrance to the Black Moon sect from the Heavenly Yin Mountain. Meng Yingying asked while walking, "You have friends in the Great Zhou country. How come I don't know about this?" They couldn't even be considered friends. He explained the matter of the Yin Corpse Valley. The Ghost Flame and Ice Demon brothers were just passers-by to Chu Tian. He thought they wouldn't meet again. He never thought they would meet in this kind of place. It was a matter of fate. In the beginning, Chu Tian gave the two brothers the 10,000-year-old corpse monster cores. Perhaps he didn't feel anything, but to the two of them, it was simply a favor of rebirth. The Great Zhou country had many sections. Each sect was divided into inner and outer sections. For a large sect like the Black Moon sect, they had at least a few thousand miles of land. They had several dozen cities and enjoyed the worship of tens of millions of people. And these tens of millions of people belonged to the outer sect. The outer sect was a vassal power. The inner sect was the true core power. The outer sect supported the sect to become stronger, and the sect became stronger to protect them. The inner sect disciples were all chosen from the outer sect, so the two sides were interdependent. But in comparison, there was a large difference in status. It was like a heavenly moat. The bronze-masked old man was an outer sect elder in the past. Frankly speaking, he was just a merchant that ran errands for the Black Moon sect. At that time, the Flame Ghost and Ice Demon brothers had great innate talents, but they were only chosen as inner sect disciples and did not officially enter the sect. It was because of the large amount of rewards that they exchanged for 10 corpse cores that their strength soared over the past year. Now they were the most eye-catching stars of the Black Moon sect. The fatty did not place them in his eyes at all. The two brothers could feel it. Meng Yingying was the weakest of the three, but she still had a true spirit cultivation. Even in the Great Zhou country, this kind of person was rare, not to mention that a poor land like the southern summer country could give birth to such a monstrous talent. How could the two brothers not be shocked? According to this speed, they would reach an unimaginable realm in less than 10 years. The entire Great Zhou country would have to look up to them. A large number of grand buildings appeared in front of them. The Black Moon sect had around 200,000 people, and all of them were awakened soul cultivators. Just this strength was enough to look down on a small country, and they had over 10 true spirit cultivators. Just this one sect was much stronger than the southern summer country of the past. This was the difference between a large country and a small country. Greetings, Vice Sect Master, for great protectors and various elders. The Flame Ghost and Ice Demon brothers brought Chu Tian into a large hall. There were Black Moon sect cultivators on both sides, each wearing similar clothes. Although their clothes were different, they were all wearing masks. This is the Great Summer Country's scholar Chu Tian. Chu Tian's group of 3 stood in the center of the hall, ignoring the pressure from the surrounding Black Moon sect cultivators. His eyes passed through the hall and fell onto the people at the front. There were a total of 3 people here. One of them had a tall and sturdy figure, wearing a pitch-black robe from head to toe. He had a fierce black iron mask on his face, and his body was filled with a faint demonic qi. There were 2 people standing on his left and right. The 4 of them were dressed in green, red, blue, and yellow for different colors. Other than the colors, their clothes and masks were all the same. They were all wearing round robes with a deep hood over their heads. Each person was surrounded by a different kind of energy. Vice Sect Master Enlisine, the 4 great wind, fire, water, and earth protectors. There are also a few elders from the Black Moon sect. Each person was wearing a ghost mask, giving off a ghostly aura that made Meng Ying feel very uncomfortable. The Black Moon sect's inherited cultivation technique was special. Normally, when a sect accepted a disciple, they would either accept a certain type of innate talent or they would use the inheritance to cover up their innate talent, allowing the entire sect to practice the same cultivation technique. The giant shark gang of the Four States Lake was similar. The Black Moon sect was different in that they did not restrict innate talent. It was just that on top of the innate talent of their source spirit, they would use the characteristics of the Black Moon sect's Black Moon cultivation technique. The four protectors' spirit energy should be wind, fire, water, and earth. The wind was een wind, the water was een water, the fire was een fire, and the earth was een earth. This was a very good inheritance. The vice sect master, Endless een slowly stood up, and the surrounding black chi was released. A deep voice came from behind the mask. You are the rogue cultivator from the small southern summer country that brought 10 corpse cores to the Black Moon sect a year ago. That's right. Chu Tian didn't care about Endless Yin's contempt. The Black Moon sect is one of the Great Zhou country's 6 famous sects, and can be considered a pillar of the Great Zhou country. I, as the Great Summer Country's envoy, wish for the Great Summer Country and Great Zhou Country to work together and resist the Northern Eagle Burial Kingdom. Ha 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 ha. A series of laughter came from the main hall, and a person dressed as a Black Moon sect elder stood up. Bullshit, Great Summer Country. Could it be that a respected large country can't even send a decent person? A brat who still smells of his mother's milk, and 2 women wanted to take advantage of the Great Zhou dynasty? You want to obtain the Black Moon sect support? Laughable, laughable. What qualifications do you have? Don't think that you can bribe the Black Moon sect with a few corpse cores. Chu Tian glanced at him. Your Excellency's name? The Black Moon sect's punishment elder, Yang Miao. Flame Ghost and Ice Demon became a bit embarrassed and immediately looked at Chu Tian. Elder Yang Miao couldn't be provoked. His een water demonic technique had reached the perfection realm, and he had the highest status among the sect elders. His cultivation had reached the 2nd true spirit layer, and he had several dozen Black Moon sect secret techniques. 2nd true spirit layer? This didn't count for shit in the Forest of Chaos. A piece of trash like you dares to be arrogant in front of Father? These fellows' eyes were high above their heads, and they had bad intentions, so there was no benefit in being humble. Only by showing enough strength could they speak properly. That's right, we are small characters in the Great Summer Country. Chu Tian had already thrown his promise to the 2 brothers to the back of his head. But small characters like us are very curious and want to see the secret techniques of the Great Zhou country's famous sections. If the elder is generous, how about we make a bet? Yang Miao said with a cold smile. Are you worthy of making a bet with me? In the 10,000 corpse ancient tomb, I didn't just obtain 10,000-year-old corpse monster cores. Of course I'm not worthy, but it is. Chu Tian casually held the sword in his hand. When the ice-cold sword blade touched the ground, it released a cold aura that turned into a large piece of frost, the ancient soul-contracting weapon, the Netherworld sword. I think it is considered a top-grade treasure in the Great Zhou country. If the elder can defeat any one of the 3, this sword will be the Great Summer Country's gift to the Black Moon sect. The expressions of everyone present slightly changed. There was a trace of fluctuation in Endless Yin's eyes. Chu Tian's Netherworld sword was no longer the Netherworld sword he had just obtained. It had already recovered its strength and was even stronger than before. In a place like the Black Moon sect, it could be considered a top-grade treasure. The Black Moon sect had eyes above their heads. How could a small country like the Southern Summer Country place them in their eyes? They were willing to meet Chu Tian this time because they knew that Chu Tian had many treasures. They never thought that before they even made a move, Chu Tian would take out the Netherworld sword. Yang Miao's mask gave a sinister laugh. Is it really like this? Would I lie to you here? Chu Tian shrugged his shoulders and said, If I win, you have to agree to some of my conditions. Was this little country's youth an idiot? What qualifications did he have to bargain in this kind of situation? Even if he could make the Black Moon sect agree to his conditions, Would the Black Moon sect keep their promise? Little brother is this confident. The vice sect master, Endless, suddenly spoke up. It would be a waste if he didn't take the treasures sent to him. Elder Yang should exchange pointers with them. Let these small country cultivators see the Black Moon sect's cultivation technique. It could be considered doing a good deed. All right. Yang Miao's spirit energy was suddenly released. His body that was sitting on the seat suddenly changed shape. Like black water surging out, it flowed into the ground in front of him, instantly forming his body. There were still black water droplets moving around his body. Don't say that I'm bullying the weak. Whoever has the confidence to go up, it's fine even if all three of you come together. Such a strange cultivation technique. The Black Moon sect's elder gave people a feeling like his body had turned into invisible water, constantly changing and hiding danger. This was the perfection realm of the water demonic technique. Meng Yingying volunteered, I'll fight. Chu Tian deliberately provoked her. Will you have a problem? No problem. Meng Yingying was filled with confidence. I'll finish it in 10 moves. Chu Tian shook his head in dissatisfaction and said, 10 moves is too much. I'll finish it in 3 moves. Meng Yingying tilted her head and thought about it. I'll try. Yang Miao's eyes turned dark and terrifying. Are the Southern Summer people as arrogant as you? No. Actually, the Great Summer people are very humble. Chu Tian said with a smile. Unless we meet trash that overestimates themselves and doesn't know themselves, then we will teach them a lesson. With these words, everyone's expressions changed. Ghost Flame and Ice Demon were stunned. Did Chu Tian's brain break? Didn't he know that he was in the Black Moon sect's territory? If he said these words in front of so many people from the Black Moon sect, would the Black Moon sect let him leave? Where would the face of one of the great 6 great sects go? With these words, this was simply a naked provocation. Yang Miao flew into a rage out of shame. Bold. AI, don't be excited. I'm not targeting you alone. Chu Tian's eyes swept over the surrounding elders, as well as the protectors and vice sect masters. I'm talking about everyone here. Bastard. Before he even finished, Yang Miao angrily attacked, going around Meng Yingying to attack Chu Tian. Chapter 9:34. Chu Tian was sitting on the table with a faint smile and crossing his legs. The little fox was lazily lying on his shoulder yawning, with Chun Bingyu on his left and Meng Yingying on his right, with the 18 divine servants standing behind him like statues. If one didn't know the situation, they would think that Chu Tian was a rich family's young master, holding beauties on his left and right, participating in a tea party with bodyguards. In contrast to the several dozen angry Black Moon sect elders, protectors, vice sect master Enlessine, and etc. These people were all famous people in the Great Zhou country. Even a casual stomp of their feet could shake the Great Zhou country, but they could only stare at Chu Tian, unable to do anything. Sect master, why do we have to negotiate with this bastard? This fellow has caused the Black Moon sect to lose face. If today's matter were to be spread, our 2,000 years of reputation would be lost. Where would the heavenly Mountain's 10,000 years of prestige go? Kill him. The Black Moon sect's people angrily shouted. Chu Tian's group's actions were hard to forgive. This matter did not just affect their personal reputation. It also shamed one of the famous Great Zhou Mountains, the heavenly Mountain. Would 1,000 years of accumulation be destroyed in the hands of a little brat? Spirit's small body looked like she was around 10 years old. Adding in her red robe that didn't have a single wrinkle, she looked just like a little doll. Where did she have the aura of a sect master at all? However, he was sitting in the middle of the group of old men with an air of seniority, which gave people a very strange feeling. No matter how angry the elders and vice sect masters were, her expression didn't change at all. Her large black eyes curiously looked at Chu Tian. She didn't understand why Chu Tian was so fearless without a hostage in his hands. Spirit had a cultivation in the 4th true spirit layer and several dozen powerful elders and protectors, as well as tens of thousands of elite cultivators. If she wanted to kill a few people, she wouldn't be able to escape no matter what. Whether it was the elegant and indifferent Chun Bing-yu, the young and immature Meng Ying, or the mysterious and unfathomable Chu Tian, the three of them had never shown any signs of worry. This meant that they definitely had something to rely on, but what could it be? Hey, I say, little sister sect master, can you make these fellows who are barking like dogs shut up? Chu Tian changed to a more comfortable position in the chair. We're talking about the fate of the Black Moon sect. What is with all this noise? I'll say it again. You're not allowed to call me little sister. Spirit seemed like she hated this title. Her little hand slapped the stone table and the entire hall trembled. Your actions have already caused serious damage to the heavenly Mountain. I'm not thinking about cooperation right now. Rather, I'm thinking about how to deal with the three of you. The Black Moon sect cooperating with Miracle Commerce is beneficial. As for damaging the heavenly Mountain's reputation, I'm very sorry. This was not my original intention. But then again, it's better to suffer some losses than to be annihilated. Chu Tian's words were no different from a naked threat. The era of the Great Zhou country's 6 famous mountains has come to an end, and the Great Zhou country will soon have a large wave. It doesn't matter if you want to see it or not, but it will happen. Anyone that tries to stop the wheel of fate will be ruthlessly crushed to pieces. Too arrogant, Endless angrily roared. You want to topple the 6 famous mountains with just you? That's right, just me. Chu Tian was not polite at all. Actually, even if I don't interfere, once the Eagle Burial Warring Kingdom attacks, there won't be any intact eggs in the nest. The Great Zhou country can't do anything alone. Even if they close their sect and hide, without the resources of the world, how can the 6 famous mountains develop? Not to mention the experts of the Eagle Burial Warring Kingdom are like clouds. It's a problem if your mountain protecting array can block them. Not to mention establishing your sect, you might not even be able to protect your old ancestor's grave. The elders were so angry that they were about to explode. This kind of arrogant attitude and this kind of taunting tone, how could these fellows tolerate this? Spirit's little hand came out of her sleeve and placed it on the table. There was a flash of cold light in her eyes. I know Chairman Chu is very interesting, and I know that Miracle Commerce has some new toys, but you have to understand that there are many things in this world that can't be bought with just a few source stones. This Chu believes that there is nothing in this world that can't be discussed. If a few source stones can't be bought, then what about several dozen, several hundred, several tens of thousands, several hundred million, several hundred billion, several trillion? Chu Tian revealed a very enticing smile. If you can give enough benefits, how hard would it be to buy the entire Black Moon sect? Spirit revealed 2 cute little canines as she revealed a smile. This one wants to hear what kind of price Chairman Chu can offer. Within half a year, the Black Moon sect will become the #1 sect in the Great Zhou country. Whether it is a normal sect or a small sect or the 6 famous mountains, the entire Great Zhou country will have to listen to the heavenly Mountain. Everyone's eyes popped out. Did this fellow know the weight of these words? The 6 famous mountains have been fighting for over 1,000 years. Even if a certain sect could stand out for a while, their glory would only last 100 years. This was because once a famous mountain surpassed the other mountains by too much, the 5 famous mountains would work together to suppress it. There had never been a single sect that could suppress the other 5 mountains by themselves. Wasn't doing it in half a year nonsense? Chu Tian did not finish and raised 3 fingers. Within 3 years, the Black Moon sect will be spread across the surrounding large and small countries. The Black Moon sect will become the strongest sect in this area and the richest sect. This was even more nonsense. Spirit began to laugh. Chairman Chu really knows how to joke. With your Miracle Commerce's strength, you actually dare to boast like this. This is just too funny. Little sister, if the sect master thinks like this, it means you don't understand Miracle Commerce. Damn. Spirit was filled with anger as she slapped off a piece of the stone table. I already said not to call me little sister. Chu Tian did not place Spirit's anger in his eyes at all. Look at the 18 divine servants behind me. Do you still think Miracle Commerce is a normal company? Humph. I admit that the divine servants aren't bad, but so what? Spirit's eyes were filled with a strong desire when she looked at the divine servants. If her Een spirit scripture combined with these divine servants, just how strong would they be? You still can't prove your strength, right? Could it be that just because of a word from you, the entire Black Moon sect will support you? You think too highly of yourselves. What you say is reasonable. Chu Tian's eyes turned. Does your sect have spatial crystals? Spatial crystals are very precious, but the Heavenly Een Mountain has been around for tens of thousands of years, so naturally we have some in reserve. Why are you asking this? Then it's easy, Chu Tian said. I'll immediately help you transform 10 Een corpses, and you can use the spatial crystals to pay for it. I think this business won't be a loss for you. You can transform my Een corpses into divine servants? No, I don't have many materials left. Although I can't completely transform them into divine servants, it's not far from it. They have a recovery power close to the divine servants and around 50% of the divine servants' divine power. These undead puppets are called death servants. Een Spirit knew that she couldn't transform them to be as strong as the divine servants, so she was a bit dissatisfied in her heart. But hearing that they had a strong recovery power like the divine servants, this was a large temptation to her. At least if she used spatial crystals to exchange for them, she wouldn't suffer a loss. Spatial crystals were rare, but what could they be used for? It was nothing more than making some storage tools. Even if the death servants weren't as strong as the divine servants, they were still very strong and hard to deal with puppets. These monsters that couldn't even be killed had decent strength, and with Een Spirit's unique cultivation technique, they would all turn into incarnations, possessing terrifying strength. This was enough to increase the Black Moon sect's strength by a large amount. The most important thing was that the death servants were undead monsters. These monsters wouldn't die of old age, so they could be passed down as a treasure of the Black Moon sect. What do you want the spatial crystals for? I plan on building a transport tower for the Black Moon sect. Once this transport tower is built in the Black Moon sect, the Black Moon sect will undergo an earth-shattering change. Chu Tian said this before adding, however, what you need to pay attention to is that this transport tower isn't a free gift. Whether you agree to cooperate with Miracle Commerce or not, this transport tower will be an additional condition. The Black Moon sect can choose whether or not to keep the transport tower. If we keep it, then it will be equal to Miracle Commerce's condition. A third of the Black Moon sect will belong to Miracle Commerce, and as for Little Sister Sect Master, you will be an employee of Miracle Commerce from now on. Everyone's faces fell. Bold. This person has wild ambitions. He actually wants to swallow the Black Moon sect. They had never heard of a sect becoming a shareholder. This was simply nonsense. Een Spirit gritted her teeth. This one is the respected Black Moon sect's master. You dare let this one run to Miracle Commerce as an employee? Don't speak so early. Chu Tian revealed a mysterious smile. It doesn't matter if you accept it or not. The choice is in your hands. If you choose not to keep the transport tower, I can't force you and can only dismantle it for the materials. As for you, you can at least obtain 10 death servants. No matter how you look at it, the Black Moon sect will not suffer a loss. Een Spirit carefully considered it. She didn't know what the transport tower was, but she didn't think there would be any danger. Since she was watching from the side, there shouldn't be any problems. All right, Een Spirit made her decision. I agree. Why don't you build that teleportation tower for me? I want to see what you're up to. The Black Moon sect took out all the spatial crystals they had stored in the sect. Chu Tian counted it and found that it was enough for one transport tower. So he collected it all and let Meng Ying be in charge of building the transport tower. Chu Tian took the rest of the divine blood to help Een Spirit transform her precious Een corpses. The transport tower would take several days to build, but it didn't matter. Chu Tian was not in a rush. Chapter 9:35. The Great Zhou country was stronger than the Great Summer country. This was an undeniable fact. Just the Black Moon sect could gather 100,000 or even 200,000 awakened soul cultivators. If this power was used well, it could destroy the Great Summer country. The Black Moon sect was just one of the many sects in the Great Zhou country. It could be imagined that if the Great Zhou country's army gathered together, perhaps each person would be able to drown Chu Tian and take him back. Not to mention the fact that the three of them were in the Black Moon sect's territory. This was one of the oldest sects in the Great Zhou country, with all kinds of restrictions, barriers, and arrays. Not only was it hard to attack, it was harder than ascending to the heavens to kill their way out. Chu Tian's inexplicable provocation seemed like an irrational thing to do. Wasn't this no different from seeking death? Actually, it wasn't like this. Chu Tian wasn't afraid of them at all. Even if they took 10,000 steps back and the three of them had city return scrolls, they could just run away if the situation was bad. There was no way to stop spatial scrolls in this era. So what could the Black Moon sect do to them, even if they had more people? Chu Tian didn't have the time to slowly bargain with them. The Black Moon sect was a sect filled with demonic cultivators. Although they weren't evil, as long as they were demonic cultivators, they would follow the law of the jungle. Moreover, verbal promises and oaths had no meaning. Chu Tian didn't want to waste his saliva and knowledge. It was better to use absolute strength to make them yield. So what if the Black Moon sect was strong? The Great Zhou country was strong in terms of comprehensive strength, resources, army, and economy. If it was just in terms of experts, the Black Moon sect couldn't even compare to Miracle City. Being afraid like this, was this still Chu Tian's style? No matter what, Chu Tian had successfully enraged Yang Miao. His hands came together, and his body began to melt, turning into a human-shaped jelly. Large droplets of water floated out of his body, and each droplet floated in the air. Yang Miao's hands suddenly pushed forward. Several dozen droplets of water shot out at Chu Tian. Dead water seal. This was one of the Black Moon sect's secret techniques. Yang Miao clearly had a rare elemental source spirit, and his source spirit was water. Combining it with the water demonic technique to display this secret technique, each droplet of water had a strong penetrative power. The most poisonous part was that it could easily corrode protective spirit energy, and most protective cultivation techniques would be ineffective. Moreover, it contained a strong poison, killing anyone who touched it. You've hit the wrong person. Your opponent is me. Meng Yingying's body was covered in starlight. Under the intense collision of the electromagnetic light, she was like a bolt of lightning blocking Chu Tian. Several dozen droplets of water fell onto Meng Yingying's petite and beautiful body. When these jet black droplets hit Meng Yingying's body, it was like droplets of water falling onto a burning hot iron pot. There was a sizzling sound as steam rose up, almost instantly evaporating. No effect. Yang Miao's face slightly changed. This girl had a cultivation in the first true spirit layer at such a young age. This was very shocking. At least in the Black Moon sect, there had never been a 16-year-old who had a true spirit cultivation. Even in the history of the Great Zhou country, there weren't many. A trivial little country's girl. How could she have this kind of ability? The most incredible thing was an unheard of defensive cultivation technique. Not only did it have a strong defense, it could also resist the corrosion of darkness and curses, making the dead water seal ineffective. The Great Zhou country was a country filled with sects, with countless ancient inheritances and cultivation techniques, but they had never heard of this kind of cultivation technique before. Yang Miao used all his strength, and his body became even more blurry. Countless streams of black steam were released, instantly swallowing Meng Yingying like a giant beast. So what if her defense was strong? This move could turn her cultivation into water mist, and this water mist was everywhere. From the pores, from the nose, from the ears, it could enter any part of the body. Even if a trace entered the body, it was enough to kill a first true spirit layer cultivator. Meng Yingying's cultivation was high, but she clearly didn't have enough battle experience. She was a bit stunned when she faced the attack, and in that moment, she was completely surrounded by the black water mist. She even accidentally breathed in a few mouthfuls, so she was dead for sure. Yang Miao's water demonic technique was not for nothing. If it was a normal true spirit cultivator, they would have lost their battle strength even if they didn't die. But when the starlight immortal body reached the sacred light body realm, The power released came from the inside. It was not just the surface of the body. Each muscle, meridians, and even the internal organs were all covered by the sacred light body's power. So even if Meng Yingying made this mistake, she would not be injured at all, only being frozen for a few seconds. Profound large hand seal. This time Yang Miao used a high-grade secret technique of the Black Moon sect. Endless wild energy came out of his body, condensing into a giant palm that slammed at Meng Yingying. Yang Miao used his full strength in this attack, not holding anything back at all. The profound large hand seal was one of Yang Miao's strongest killing moves. Meng Yingying finally felt a sense of crisis. Her reaction and movements were very slow, and this time she finally released her mirror source spirit. Before she could make the next move, the powerful giant handprint heavily bombarded her body. Dying. Yang Miao did not have any protective feelings for the fairer sex, as he angrily roared out with all his strength, wanting to crush this young girl to pieces. The moment the large hand seal slammed into the other side, Yang Miao felt like a giant wave slamming into a diamond. He couldn't shake it at all, and the terrifying power was reflected back at him. The Starlight immortal body had the ability to reflect damage. Meng Yingying's mirror source spirit also had the ability to reflect damage. When Meng Yingying received this attack, she immediately activated the Starlight immortal body, returning most of the power to Yang Miao. Yang Miao's large hand shattered inch by inch, turning into countless drops of water that fell onto her body. The ground, pillars, walls, and ceiling behind her were all filled with holes. Meng Yingying counterattacked for the first time. A normal cultivator would have been killed by the reflected power. Yang Miao received a strong backlash, but Yang Miao's cultivation technique was very special. The Yin water demonic technique in the perfection realm made his body turn into elemental essences. When the reflected power hit his body, it was all absorbed by his half-liquefied body, so it didn't cause any damage. Even like this, Yingying's strength was enough to make others look at her in a different light. Chu Tian said from the side, the first move. Meng Yingying's brows knit together as the starlight around her body collided. Her figure turned into a bolt of lightning as she charged out. Her flawless right arm swept out, and she actually sent out an incomparably sharp starlight blade. Yang Miao still hadn't stabilized himself. This close distance, this fast speed, and this kind of attack, he had no way of dodging. He could only condense a water shield in front of him. The starlight blade pierced through the water shield and directly into Yang Miao's body. Did she kill him? Meng Yingying had just sent out this thought when Yang Miao retreated. There was indeed a large hole in his chest, but the black water quickly surged out. In just a short moment, it was as good as new, not leaving a single mark. With a water source spirit and a strange cultivation technique, it can nullify all attacks. Even if Meng Yingying didn't have any battle experience, she could still see through this trick. This is a bit hard to deal with. His cultivation base is higher than mine. It won't be easy to break it. Chu Tian reminded, the second move. Meng Yingying used all her spirit energy, and the mirror source spirit floating behind her suddenly had the image of a fire phoenix appear. That raging flame came out of the mirror and instantly surrounded Meng Yingying. Fire phoenix? The Black Moon sect people were shocked. This was the legendary God-level source spirit. Meng Yingying's fire phoenix was a fake, although it couldn't compare to Nangong Yun. The mirror fire phoenix still had the power of a fire phoenix. Meng Yingying used half of her source spirit and used all her strength to gather this strong flame energy. The flames around Meng Yingying became stronger and stronger, and a giant phoenix appeared around her. Chu Tian was a bit stunned. Great Nirvana? Scripture? Not only did Meng Yingying copy Nangong Yun's source spirit, she even wanted to copy Nangong Yun's main cultivation technique. Of course, this was impossible. At least with Meng Yingying's current strength, she could only copy a bit of it. Even so, it was still very strong. A little girl in her teens could force one of the highest-ranking elders of the Black Moon sect to this point. Yang Miao was filled with anger and shock. His hands formed several seals, and large amounts of black water came out of his body. His body quickly swelled up, and in the blink of an eye, he turned into a 3-meter-tall black water demon, and his aura doubled. Profound Een Large Hand Seal. Yang Miao pushed the Een Water Demonic technique to its peak, turning himself into a black water demon. Then he used his secret technique and wildly attacked Meng Yingying. This was already the strongest attack he could make. Heaven-burning fist. Meng Yingying had already released most of her strength. The mirror source spirit continued to provide energy behind her, and her entire body was covered in a hazy phoenix. The two of them fiercely collided. Fire against water, light against darkness. In that instant, water vapor filled the entire main hall. This water vapor was caused by Yang Miao's spirit energy evaporating, and it contained the Een Water demonic technique's poison. The elders and disciples all ran away, afraid of being caught in the crossfire. Yang Miao's protective water demon technique was evaporated by the fire phoenix's power. Meng Yingying's fist landed solidly on his body. Even though it was very close, it still broke through his protective magic power. Yang Miao was like a puppet with its strings cut, instantly breaking 6 or 7 pillars, finally falling heavily into the corner of the wall. Yang Miao spat out a mouthful of blood and fainted on the spot. Meng Yingying's little face was a bit pale, probably because she had used up too much energy. It really was dangerous. Yang Miao was actually a bit stronger than her, but the Starlight immortal body could restrain him, so Meng Yingying didn't have any worries when she attacked. Yang Miao had to use a part of his cultivation to protect his body, but he was suppressed by the Fire Phoenix's power, so he was directly defeated by Meng Yingying. But Meng Yingying did it. In just 3 moves, he had defeated a cultivator of a higher level. Humph! The Black Moon Sect's Vice Sect Master Endless Yin's face sunk, daring to insult my Black Moon Sect. For protectors, take them down. The 4 protectors made their moves. Wind, fire, water, and earth. The 4 of them had different source spirits, but none of them were weaker than Yang Miao. With the 4 of them attacking at the same time, their strength surpassed one's imagination. Chu Tian shook his head with a look of disdain. You can't beat me one-on-one, so you're using numbers to suppress me? The hall was filled with a bone-chilling cold. Before the 4 protectors attacked, there was a blizzard that appeared out of nowhere. Endless Een was shocked to find that the black-clothed woman beside Chu Tian had made a move. This woman had always been quiet and low-key, but when she made a move, she was actually this strong. Perhaps she was several times stronger than that girl. Seeing a ghost. Chapter 9:36. Other than refining Een Spirit's death servants, Chu Tian did not stay idle. He swallowed pills every day to increase his cultivation. Now that miracle commerce was in the center of the forest of chaos and they had the bustling Oldman small town market, various resources were flowing into miracle commerce. So Chu Tian's group was the happiest cultivator. Taking out a bottle of pills from their pockets was enough to make normal rogue cultivators fight over them. The pills Meng Yingying ate every week was equivalent to the savings of a normal rogue cultivator in several years. Under these conditions, even if one's talent was mediocre, they could still become a peak expert. Of course, the ones he was purchasing now were mainly ordinary saint medicines. These sacred herbs could be refined into pills that could increase one's cultivation base, but they still needed to slowly grow and accumulate. A heaven and earth treasure that could allow a person to instantly break through 1 or 2 layers. Even with Miracle Commerce's current wealth and channels, it was hard to buy it. This kind of thing required a certain amount of luck. After Chu Tian fought the Lich and swallowed the Star Marrow pill, as well as a period of cultivation, his cultivation base should have stabilized at the peak first true spirit layer. On this day, he suddenly felt that an opportunity had come. The opportunity to increase his cultivation base had come. Chu Tian didn't want to waste this state, so he immediately found a closed-door elder cave in the Black Moon Sect. The Heavenly Mountain was one of the great Zhou country's 6 great spiritual mountains. This kind of paradise was filled with spiritual energy and was suitable for cultivation. But Chu Tian didn't rely on the spiritual energy in the spiritual vein to increase his cultivation base. He took out an eye of the star and held it in his hand. The starlight immortal body began to circulate. Chu Tian felt an incomparably pure power of the stars seeping into his body along with the circulation of his cultivation technique. Chu Tian couldn't help but be covered in a layer of starlight. From weak to strong, from bright to dark, the intensity of the starlight became higher and higher. His entire body was covered in light from inside out, basically turning into a man of light. The eye of the star in his hand became smaller and smaller. The starlight energy from this eye of the star was enough to keep the transport tower running for 10 years. Now that it was all absorbed into Chu Tian's body, it attacked every cell in his body, changing every part of it. The color of the dazzling white light suddenly changed, as though it had melted into the air and disappeared. All of it transformed into a wave and was released. A large sound came from the top of the heavenly Een mountain. Een spirit floated in front of a large barrel, happily looking at the 10 death servants being transformed by the divine blood. She was shocked by the large sound. Could it be that someone was attacking the mountain? Een spirit quickly flew out, floating 50 meters in the air. When she looked into the distance, there was a large mass of starlight exploding in the sky, instantly blooming into the horizon. A sea of stars appeared, spreading out like a beautiful painting. This strange scene attracted countless onlookers. The entire Black Moon sect was filled with curiosity and shock. They didn't know what was happening. Een spirit's little body floated in the air, just like a little doll wearing a red dress. She could feel the attribute of this power. Wasn't it the defensive cultivation technique those people cultivated? This kind of defense was not inferior to any of the perfection realm cultivation techniques Een spirit knew of. Could it be that this cultivation technique could become even stronger? What kind of powerful cultivation technique was this? Een spirit couldn't help thinking that if she could learn this cultivation technique, wouldn't she be able to use the Een spirit scripture to give the death servants this kind of defense? The death servant's strength would definitely increase a step further. Heavenly Een Mountain. On a quiet hillside, Chun Bingyu was sitting alone in a daze. In the past year, Chun Bingyu often felt that her family's bloodline was slowly recovering. In the battle a few days ago, she had finally awakened her family's bloodline. This could be considered her biggest harvest recently. When her bloodline was awakened, not only would Chun Bingyu's cultivation soar for a short period of time, the most important thing was that she could use the secret techniques and powers sealed in her bloodline, so her battle strength would not be the same as before. Her jet black hair had turned ice blue. This was a blue that was almost white, but it also looked like it was made of silver, like it had been frozen for millions of years. Her body was surrounded by cold air and cold air. It made her aura even colder, but it also added a bit of otherworldly beauty. This was the sign of the Great Zhou royal bloodline being completely awakened. Great Zhou royal family, Great Zhou princess. After living for so many years, she had almost forgotten that she had this kind of identity. When she escaped from the Great Zhou country in the past, she was only 17 or 18 years old. She thought that she would find a place where no one knew about her past and study martial arts until she died of old age. She never thought that after 18 years, she would come back like this. "Hey, big sister Bing, why are you watching the sunset alone?" A voice came from behind her. Who else could it be if it wasn't Chu Tian? Chun Bingyu turned around and found that Chu Tian was a bit different. His body was covered in a faint glow that couldn't be seen with the naked eye. Only Chun Bingyu, who cultivated the starlight immortal body, could feel it. "So the commotion just now was caused by you. It seems like your cultivation technique has broken through?" Chun Bingyu stared at Chu Tian for a few seconds before saying, "Your cultivation seems to have broken through as well. When did this woman's insight become this strong?" "That's right. The starlight immortal body had reached the perfection realm, and his cultivation had reached the second true spirit layer. There was no longer an earth spirit cultivator that could be his match." "Can I sit down?" Chun Bingyu angrily said to this fellow taking off his pants to fart. Can I say no? Chu Tian impolitely sat down next to her. He began to chatter as soon as he sat down. Big Sister Bing, you're not honest. Why didn't you tell us about your past before? If we knew about this kind of grudge, we would have come to the Great Zhou country a long time ago. But it's not too late now. It's not a problem with our methods and abilities. Chun Bingyu knit her brows. Chu Tian asked, What? Is there something wrong? Chun Bingyu's indifferent face revealed a trace of confusion. Perhaps you don't know, but our family's bloodline is very special. Although it can give us strength, it has a large influence on a person's thoughts. Chu Tian did not find it strange. Sometimes cultivation techniques could affect one's thoughts, not to mention things like bloodlines. Then what kind of influence would it have? Indifferent emotions, especially indifferent to friendly emotions. Family, friendship, love. Our family is like this. Chun Bingyu lowered her head and gave a slight sigh. When I first escaped from the Great Zhou country, I still had a deep hatred, but it has already faded over the years. I can't remember the feelings my parents and brother gave me. Revenge? Although I have this obsession, I don't have the motivation to carry it out. This is also the reason why I never want to talk about these things. Moreover, I never thought that miracle commerce would become like this in such a short period of time. Chu Tian finally understood. Chun Bingyu had the coldest personality out of everyone. She didn't seem to have any interest in anything, and she didn't like interacting with people. Other than studying martial arts and cultivation techniques, she didn't have any other hobbies. Chu Tian thought it was because of Chun Bingyu's nature or because of her previous experiences, but he never thought that it was inherited from her family. Actually, you don't need to worry about this. Chu Tian suddenly had a strange thought. With you by my side, is there a large chance of being cured? Chun Bingyu was a bit stunned. Cured? Chu Tian revealed a bad smile. Look at me. I'm so handsome, talented, and charming. You'll find that you unknowingly fall in love with me. Wouldn't that be fine? Scram! Chun Bingyu waved her hand, and the surrounding several feet were frozen. Chu Tian quickly jumped away. Damn, I was just joking. It's fine if you can't feel love, but your reaction to anger is too sensitive. Who said I can't feel love? Chun Bingyu didn't know if it was because of anger or something else, but her snow-white face was slightly red. Slow, just a little slow, do you understand? Chu Tian revealed a vigilant expression, like a rabbit being stared at by a grandmother wolf. You're saying that there's still a possibility of you falling in love with me? I'm warning you. I already have a girlfriend. Chun Bingyu saw his cheap and bad look and immediately felt a nameless anger in her heart. Go to hell. In a few minutes, the entire hillside was covered with icicles. Chu Tian was chased all over the mountain by this fierce woman and was in a sorry state. Just when the situation was getting bad, Meng Ying used the communication device to contact him. It turned out that the transport tower had already been built. Chun Bingyu returned to her usual cold appearance. Go find your little lover. Chu Tian laughed out loud. Sister Bing, actually whether you're angry or happy, you're pretty cute. So don't keep a straight face all day. Smile more when you have nothing to do. How can I smile when I see you every day? This sentence made Chu Tian choke quite a bit. This woman's mouth was really poisonous. Then be angry more. You're also pretty when you're angry. Chu Tian broke into a run after saying this, afraid that he would be attacked again. Chun Bingyu looked at Chu Tian's back as he left, her eyes slightly flashing a few times. She lightly sighed with a bit of worry and helplessness, and immediately followed. After a few days of hard work, Meng Ying finally built the transport tower. The Black Moon Sect's master Yin spirit appeared with the elders surrounding her. She looked at the transport tower a few times and revealed a doubtful expression. This is what you want to build? What use does it have? Chu Tian inserted the eye of the star into it, and the transport tower was activated. He turned around to look at Yin spirit and said, Cooperation cannot be without inspection. I want to invite the sect master to Miracle Commerce's headquarters. You want this one to go to the Great Summer Country? Wrong. Meng Ying cut in and said with a proud face, Our headquarters is in Miracle City, not the Great Summer Country. Miracle City is a city in the center of the forest of chaos. There wasn't a mistake. Forest of Chaos? The Black Moon sex people were stunned. Miracle Commerce was in the Forest of Chaos. How was that possible? The center of the Forest of Chaos was over 100,000 miles away. How long would it take to make a round trip? Not to mention that the Forest of Chaos was very dangerous. Even a spirit transformation cultivator couldn't guarantee a safe trip. Chu Tian patted the transport tower beside him. Sect Master doesn't need to worry. Miracle City also has transport towers. With 2 transport towers, no matter how far it is, we can instantly arrive. It is as convenient as going to our own toilet. These words shocked everyone. In Spirit's large black eyes revealed a look of shock. Could it be? This is the function of the transport tower? More than that. Chu Tian took out a scroll made from a fragment of the Eye of the Star. This is a transfer scroll that I personally made. During the process of making it, I set the coordinates of the transfer location. With this scroll in hand, no matter where we go, we can instantly return to the city. So this thing is called a City Return Scroll. Little sister Sect Master, do you know the value of the transport tower now? Chapter 9:37. The moment Qin Bingyu flew into the air, the spirit energy in her body poured out, turning into a large snowstorm that swept through the palace. The temperature dropped by several dozen degrees, making everyone feel like they were in the extreme cold. If these bystanders had such a strong feeling, then the pressure on the 4 great protectors, who were the targets of the attack, could be imagined. Tens of thousands of crystal-clear snowflakes released a glow, just like a rain of flowers falling from a pear garden. It was beautiful, but it also contained a strong sense of danger. Each snowflake was condensed from Qin Bingyu's source spirit. It was strong enough to freeze the spirit energy in the opponent's body, making them lose their battle strength. The 4 great protectors were blocked in a single move and had no choice but to temporarily avoid the power of the blizzard. Qin Bingyu's voluptuous body shot out from the entanglement of the snowflakes. The exhausted snowflakes seemed to be attracted by a magnet and immediately condensed into 2 beautiful and exquisite snow dragons beside Qin Bingyu. She struck out with her palms and once again attacked the 4 great protectors. This silent, low-key, and unobtrusive woman really amazed the world with a single brilliant feat. Qin Bingyu also had the sacred light body, but her cultivation base was even deeper. Now that she was in the 2nd true spirit layer, she was different from Meng Yingying, who only knew how to imitate. She was a genius with shocking battle talent. Her source spirit and talent were not below Central State's Chu Xinghe. The 4 protectors were not easy to deal with. Originally, they wanted to temporarily avoid the momentum, but they did not expect Qin Bing to be so strong. The 4 of them immediately struck out, and the 2 interweaving snow dragons were instantly blown to pieces, once again turning into snowflakes that filled the sky. The snowflakes were like a mountain of blades. Her figure moved like lightning. Qin Bingyu used 5-6 secret techniques in half a blink of an eye, attacking the 4 protectors of wind, fire, water, and earth. She charged forward with the power of the snowflakes, sending out a palm to each of them, forcing the 4 protectors back a step. Good. Meng Yingying couldn't help shouting, "Big Sister Bing is strong." Was there even need to say it? Among the people Chu Tian trained, Nangong Yun's battle talent was the highest, with a god-level source spirit and a supreme cultivation technique. It was hard for Chu Tian to defeat her in the same realm without using his main source spirit. Next was Qin Bingyu and Dongfang Haoran. Qin Bingyu and Nangong Yun were both martial artists, but the difference between the 2 of them was that Nangong Yun worshipped pure martial arts, so she was a fighter and a destroyer. Qin Bingyu's goal was higher than Nangong Yun's. She pursued the true meaning of martial arts, treating martial arts as an art, not completely addicted to fighting and might. During Qin Bingyu's time in Miracle Commerce, she had listened to all of the Qilin Hall's lessons and had used Miracle Commerce's channels to collect large amounts of cultivation techniques and secret techniques. Every day, she would try to understand the various cultivation techniques and martial arts. Qin Bingyu's future battle strength could not compare to Nangong Yun's. But her attainments in martial arts were not something Nangong Yun could compare to. It could be seen from Chun Bingyu's moves. Chun Bingyu's moves were ever-changing, and she could instantly use 4 or 5 different martial arts and cultivation techniques. It could be said that she had already absorbed Chu Tan's advanced knowledge and used it as a foundation to gather all the cultivation techniques and martial arts. Such a high comprehension. The 4 Black Moon Protectors never thought that their joint attack would be blocked by a normal girl, and they immediately flew into a rage out of shame. What are you 4 doing? Use the 4 phase array. The 4 Protectors were clearly excited. Their individual strengths were not inferior to Yang Niao's by much. Not to mention the fact that the 4 Black Moon Protectors were inseparable. Although their cultivation techniques were different, they could perfectly combine, achieving a 1+1 greater than 2 effect. Most 3rd True Spirit Layer experts were not their match. In this kind of 4 against 1 situation, how could they be afraid of a trivial female? The other elders and the 4 Protectors knew how strong they were, so they didn't interfere. After all, the people here were all famous great Zhou experts, and it wasn't a good reputation to bully someone with numbers. The 4 Protectors gave up on Chu Tian and Meng Yingying because the 4 Protectors could see that Chun Bingyu had the highest cultivation out of the 3 of them. They would kill the person with the highest cultivation first, and there was nothing to worry about the others. One was covered in dark blue wind. One was covered in purple-red flames. One was covered in ash-black in water. One was covered in dark golden rock. The 4 of them suddenly moved as fast as ghosts, leaving behind countless afterimages. For colored beams of light interweaved, and an array filled with a strange aura appeared. Chun Bingyu was trapped in this array, and the 4 Protectors each took a position. My sect's 4 Protectors are 4 twin brothers, born as one. Their minds are connected and their innate talents are different, but they can help each other. The cultivation techniques they cultivate come from the same source, so the 4 of them are one, making their battle strength even stronger. Endless Een saw that the array was complete and immediately relaxed. This trivial, nameless person wants to break the 4 Protectors. The 4 Protectors all had rare, elemental source spirits. This kind of source spirit was very hard to deal with, not to mention the seamless 4 elemental array. Chun Bingyu felt her strength being suppressed. The blizzard that was raging in the main hall was actually unable to break through the suppression of this array. The Black Moon sect really does have some skills, Meng Yingying indignantly said. They are bullying us with numbers. I'm afraid Elder Sister Bingyu will suffer a loss. Don't be anxious. Chu Tian had indeed underestimated the Black Moon sect's strength. Chun Bingyu's strength was enough to fight 4 people of the same level, but the coordination between the 4 Protectors was too perfect. It wasn't as simple as just adding up their numbers. But even like this, he was not in a rush to make a move because Chu Tian could vaguely feel that Chun Bingyu was hiding some other strength. Big Sister Bing won't be easily defeated. Chun Bingyu's spirit energy turned into a blizzard that was biting cold, but she was still trapped in the center of the main hall. No matter how fierce she couldn't break through the 4 Protectors' defenses. The 4 Protectors had already begun to attack and suppress Chun Bingyu, but with the Starlight immortal body and her powerful strength, she was fine for a while. This situation was very bad. 1 against 4 was consuming several times more spirit energy than the 4 Protectors. If this continued, she would most likely lose because her spirit energy couldn't support it. At this time, the Wind Protector sent out a sharp wind blade. When Chun Bingyu dodged to the side, her black veil was lifted by the wind blade, revealing a cold and beautiful mature face. Chun Bingyu was already over 30 years old, but she looked like she was in her 20s. For her to have this kind of cultivation at her age, she could be considered a genius in the Great Zhou country. Endless Een sat on the high throne and said, "You have some skill. If you're willing to serve the Black Moon sect, this one will spare your lives." Humph! Chun Bingyu's eyes revealed a trace of anger. Countless snowflakes began to spin at high speeds, forming an incomparably large ice lotus. Countless flames, water bullets, wind blades, and earth spikes attacked, But before they could even land on Chun Bingyu, they were frozen and lost their power. Chun Bingyu formed a seal with her hands. A white and blue mark appeared between her brows. At this time, a power that seemed to have been sealed in her body suddenly surged out from Chun Bingyu's body. It made her spirit energy increase in a short period of time, gradually surpassing the strength of the second true spirit realm. What was going on? What was even stranger was that Chun Bingyu's originally jet black hair suddenly turned silver white at a speed visible to the naked eye. Chu Tian was also shocked. Bloodline power? Sister Bing has bloodline power. She's been by my side for so long, and I didn't even notice. What a fucking failure. Bloodline power was a kind of power that came from the ancestors and bloodline. The Nangong family of the southern summer country believed in the immortal bird. Perhaps their ancestors were related to the immortal bird, so they passed on their power to their descendants. However, bloodline power had been passed down from ancient times until today. It would be buried for a long time, and the longer it was, the deeper it would be buried, to the point where it was basically impossible to awaken. Not only did Chun Bingyu possess the power of bloodline, but she was also able to activate this ancient power. With the support of this power, Chun Bingyu's strength would skyrocket by several times. Descending ice river. The mark between Chun Bingyu's eyebrows released in even stronger light, and her slender white hands were already covered in blue ice flames. She pressed her hands into the air, and large pieces of ice were released in all directions. It gave people a feeling like the air had been frozen and the entire space had been sealed. Retreat. Chu Tian pulled Meng Yingying with him as he teleported several hundred meters away. The place he was just in was instantly frozen. This ice was condensed from spirit energy, so there was no need to condense water into ice at all. Most of the space in the store was sealed, and the elders that couldn't escape in time, including the Flame Ghost and Ice Demon brothers, were all sealed by the terrifying ice. These people did not die. They were sealed. The four protectors wanted to escape, but it was already too late. The countless pieces of crystal like ice did not give them any chance. That terrified posture and the terrified expression in their eyes were perfectly preserved. Meng Yingying looked at the hall, and her mouth opened so wide that an apple could fit in. So powerful, a single move filled most of the hall with ice. You. The Black Moon Sect's Vice Sect Master, Endless Yin's expression was not filled with shock and anger. He looked at Chun Bingyu in disbelief. You're the great Zhou royal princess that disappeared 18 years ago. You never expected it. Chun Bingyu's silver white hair danced in the wind, but her eyes were still as cold as before. The great Zhou royal family was slaughtered, and the last fish that escaped the net was able to live until today. Good, you didn't die 18 years ago, but you came to our door today. Endless Yin gave an angry roar and soared into the sky. He gathered endless demonic chi into a palm that shot out at Chun Bingyu. I'll kill you now. Punk. Endless Yin had a cultivation in the third true spirit layer. Chun Bingyu did not have the strength to resist and was sent flying by the palm. Luckily, Chun Bingyu did not have much spirit energy left, but she could still maintain the starlight immortal body, so this attack only caused a light injury to her. Stupid, truly stupid. It was hard for you to escape Great Zhou, and you had a fortuitous encounter, but you're in a rush to die in Great Zhou. Endless Yin stepped in the air with ghostly chi surrounding him. Since it's like this, I can't let you live. Endless Yin raised his hands high up, and a deep blue ghost head blade condensed. Dang! The blade and sword collided. Chu Tian appeared in front of Chun Bingyu and raised the netherworld sword to block this attack. When he was pushed back by Endless Yin's blade, he grabbed the injured Chun Bingyu and quickly moved to Yingying's side. Are you all right? There was a trace of blood on the corner of Chun Bingyu's lips, and her eyes slightly trembled. I'm all right. Thank you. You're still a princess. I really was blind. Don't make fun of me. Chun Bingyu's eyes revealed a trace of bitterness. Chu Tian knew that Chun Bingyu's background was not normal, but now is not the time to ask about it. Leave Big Sister Bingyu to me. Meng Yingying used her movement technique to charge forward. The cultivators outside are about to kill their way in. There's so many of them and we can't beat them, so we can only run away. Run away? Are you stupid? Chu Tian gave a laugh. Haven't you noticed? The Black Moon sect's elders and protectors are all hostages in our hands. We have the advantage. Do we need to run? Take care of Big Sister Bingyu. I'll beat this fellow up first. Chu Tian handed Qin Bingyu to Meng Yingying. His feet stepped off the ground, and he flew into the air with his sword. When he reached the same height as Enlacine, he circulated his spirit energy and said with a laugh, "Ha, ha, ha. The great Zhou Black Moon sect is only this strong. Your elders and protectors can't even take a single hit. I'll have to experience the Vice Sect Master's strength." After saying this, Chu Tian instantly disappeared and a resplendent sword glow slashed at Enlacine. This young cultivator from the southern summer country actually took the initiative to attack the Black Moon sect of the 6 great Zhou countries. Chapter 9:38. A large doubt in the hearts of the Black Moon sect's people was resolved. The reason they could cause such a ruckus in the Black Moon sect was because these 3 fellows had instant city return scrolls on them. If they met a bad situation, they could instantly escape. No matter how strong the Heavenly Een Mountains array was, it was useless. There was no such thing as a space ceiling restriction on the continent, unless they could kill the 3 of them before they could activate the scrolls. The 3 of them were not weak, so it was not a problem for them to escape unscathed. It was because they had this confidence that they were fearless. Little Sister Sect Master, do you understand the value of this transport tower? Chu Tian calmly said, during Miracle Commerce's expansion, the transport tower will appear in every corner of every country. If you have a transport tower early, the benefits it will bring is not something you can imagine. Even if you don't mention the large benefits the transport tower brings, if you use the sect's transport tower as a set of transport scrolls, it will be equal to having an extra life. No matter where you go, you will have enough protection. The Black Moon sect's people were stunned speechless. How on earth was such a heaven-defying thing made? Ean's spirit quickly waited in her heart. Was it worth exchanging a part of the Black Moon sect for the transport tower? There was no answer to this question. She could only take a look at Miracle Commerce's headquarters. That's what you said. Who knows if the transport tower is really that useful? Facts speak louder than words. Little Sister Sect Master, please. This one will warn you one last time. You're not allowed to call me Little Sister. All right, Little Sister. Ean's spirit angrily waved her sleeve as she walked into the transport tower. Chu Tian called Yingying and Qin Bingyu over. The transport tower lit up, and the spatial energy covered the surroundings. The spatial energy began to vibrate. Was this thing really that mysterious? From here to the Forest of Chaos was several tens of thousands of kilometers. If Miracle Commerce's headquarters was in the center of the Forest of Chaos, it would be 5-6 times the distance. Even if Ean's spirit rode a high-level demon beast mount with her cultivation, it would still take her 5-8 days to travel. How could they travel this far in one go? There wouldn't be any danger during the transport, right? When Ean's spirit's mind was filled with random thoughts, her shoulder was suddenly patted by someone. Little Sister, Sect Master. Little Sister, little your head. When Ean's spirit was about to explode. We're here. Ean's spirit was stunned. The spatial distortion around them returned to normal and the transport tower's light disappeared. This was a completely unfamiliar environment and scene. They were surrounded by flat grasslands, and there were mountains in the distance. There were countless strange and exquisite castles in the mountains, making this place look like a fairy tale world. This place is... Meng Yingying saw the shocked expression on the little sect master's face, and she immediately said with a smile, "Don't ask something you already know the answer to. This is Miracle Commerce's headquarters, Miracle City." This was Miracle City? Miracle City's transport tower was not far from the City Lord's castle. Before Meng Yingying started the transport, she had already used the communication device to contact her elder sister. Meng Qingguo brought Vivian, Nangong Yun, and the others to welcome them. "Welcome back, boss. I miss you all to death." Nangong Yin was still very carefree as she gave a warm greeting. "Oh, that's right. Welcome, little sect master, to Miracle City. I am Nangong Yin, boss confidant." This fellow only knew how to make connections. When did she become father's confidant? Ying, big brother. This Vivian teleported over first and immediately grabbed Chu Tian and Ying's hands. Was it fun outside? Teleportation? Innate spatial energy. Ying's spirit looked at Vivian and immediately knit her brows. This elven girl's cultivation was not weaker than hers and was even a bit stronger. Miracle Commerce actually had this kind of expert? Meng, Ying excitedly said, "Of course. Chu Tian brought me to play on the prairies. There was no end to the grass there, and the sunset was very beautiful. We're done playing, so we'll go to the Great Zhou country." "I'm so jealous." Vivian revealed a pitiful look. She was one of Miracle City's Vice City Lords, so her position was the same as Meng Qingwu's. Now that Chu Tian wasn't here and Meng Qingwu was very busy, there were many things in Miracle City that needed her to do. So how could Vivian do this? "You must bring me next time. I'm already bored to death in the Forest of Chaos." "Aunt Bing, your hair." Nangong Yin made a fuss out of nothing. "Why did it turn white?" Chun Bingyu stared at her. "Didn't I tell you in the communication device?" Nangong Yin gave an embarrassed smile. "I'm still very surprised, but you seem to have become more beautiful and younger. It seems like I can't call you Aunt Bing in the future. I'll call you elder sister like Boss and the others." No one treated Chun Bingyu as an elder. Only Nangong Yun's situation was a bit special. Chun Bingyu had come to Imperial City several years ago, and Nangong Yun had met the 20-year-old Chun Bingyu when she was 4 or 5. Naturally, she had the habit of calling her this, so she couldn't change it. "Up to you." All right, the guest is here. You can talk about this later." Meng Qingwu had already walked over at this time. She arrived in front of Ying's spirit, who still hadn't recovered, and cupped her hands in greeting. "Hello, Sect Master Ying. I am Miracle Commerce's Vice Chairman and Miracle City's Vice City, Lord Meng Qingwu. Chu Tian has offended you in the Heavenly Ying Mountains, so I apologize for him. We have prepared a reception in the City Lord's castle, so please come with us, Sect Master." Ying's spirit seemed like her soul had left her body. After being stunned for a while, she said, "Does it only take an instant to return to the Black Moon sect from here? Is little sister Sect Master afraid of not being able to return?" Chu Tian smiled as he looked at Ying. "Since it's like this, why don't you take her for a spin first?" "Understood. Elder sister, give me half a minute. We'll quickly go and return." Meng Ying pulled Ying's spirit's hand and patted the transport tower. "Sect Master, let's go." Ying's spirit did not react in time. The teleportation light suddenly brightened. When everything calmed down again, she found that she had appeared in a magnificent hall. She was surrounded by barbarian guards. "Ah, isn't this Sir Meng Ying?" A barbarian berserker captain quickly bowed. "You came to the Great Summer Country for official business." No, I'm just looking around. There's no need to be so polite." Meng Ying said to Ying's spirit, "This is the Great Summer Country. We're returning to the Heavenly Ying Mountains now." Great Summer Country. Ying's spirit's mind did not have time to think. There was a flash of light. "Why did Sect Master come back?" "Sect Master, your expression is not right. What happened? What did you do to our Sect Master?" Meng Ying revealed 2 cute dimples from her smile. "Sect Master, do you want to try again?" Ying's spirit was already completely convinced. "No need. Let's go back to Miracle City." The Black Moon Sect's people did not understand what was going on before the two of them disappeared from the transport tower. In just a breath's time, the thousands of miles disappeared, and they were transported to Miracle City once again. When everyone saw Ying's spirit's expression, they knew that this fellow was completely convinced. Meng Qingwu said, "Sect Master Ying must have seen Miracle Commerce's spatial transport technology. Actually, the spatial transport technology is just one of Miracle Commerce's many miracles. You have enough time to inspect Miracle City." "That's right, little sister Sect Master," Nangong Yin said with a laugh. "Staying here for a few days will definitely change your view of the world. You'll find how boring the world you lived in before was." Everyone returned to the City Lord's castle. Chu Tian had left Miracle City for around half a month, and Miracle City had changed a lot. At least it looked very orderly. Meng Qingwu had made a separate area in the castle, and this was the control center of the city. The first place they visited was here. This was because Miracle Commerce's first intelligent source energy matrix was placed here. Een Spirit was surprised to find that there wasn't a single pillar here. It was around 100 meters long and 50 meters wide, with several giant black boxes in the center. There was a spiritual body floating in the center of these black boxes, and there were over 100 3-meter-tall mirrors around it. Each mirror showed a different image, some of the forest, some of the castle, but in short, it was all the interior of Miracle City. Zero respectfully greeted everyone when he saw them. Miracle City's manager Zero greets the City Lord and Vice City Lord. Is there anything you need me to do? Zero had intelligence and no emotions. This was all simulated by Meng Qingwu. Een Spirit was very curious. A spiritual life form with intelligence? How did you make it? Zero replied in a cold voice. This question involves Miracle Commerce's top secret. Your Excellency does not have the authority, so I cannot answer it for you. Een Spirit revealed a strange expression. Why does this intelligent spiritual body look so strange? Chu Tian could see a few things about the central control room, but he wasn't sure, so he directly asked, "What is going on here?" Sir Vice City Lord has set up over 200 fixed monitoring points around Miracle City, 100 mobile patrol points, and the Heaven's Eye airships monitoring points for the various large areas. The images and data will all be sent here for me to control and analyze, allowing me to control the changes in the city. How is this possible? Een Spirit was very curious about the image transmission ability on one hand, but she had seen the use of the transport tower before, so this wasn't enough to scare her. Only she was very suspicious of Zero's words. Even if this spiritual body has intelligence, how can it observe all these places at once? Meng Ying said, "You don't know, right? Zero is not just a spiritual body with intelligence. He is also a super powerful smart brain with a powerful computing ability. He can accurately calculate 1 billion times per second. So his information processing ability is not something we living beings can compare to." 1 billion times? Een Spirit didn't have this concept at all. Chu Tian then asked Zero, "Does this have any other functions?" "Other than the monitoring function, I also have the city management function," Zero said in a fixed manner. "I can connect to the radio and communication systems, allowing the citizens to directly communicate with me. Whether it is inquiries, requests for help, or disputes, I can handle them all. Because I have the authority to control the city's defense and security forces, I can directly mobilize the garrison and patrol teams, using the city's security resources to deal with all kinds of emergencies. Other than that, the city's non-strategic and strategic documents will all be sent to me for analysis and approval." Meng Ying was stunned. This was just too shocking. A single Zero smart brain could surpass an outstanding administrative and management team in Miracle City. Chu Tian rubbed his chin. "I think your use shouldn't be limited to this." "That's right, City Lord, but my processing ability is limited, so I can only do this for now. How much do you think you need to strengthen it to be competent for the other tasks? If the source energy matrix can be strengthened by another 5 times, I can connect to the Miracle Shopping Center, the Spiritual Network, the Transport Tower, Miracle Banking, and the Space Warehouse. I can control the shopping centers, banks, transport towers, and space warehouses from the highest terminal, creating the Spiritual Network, and etc., ensuring the normal operation of the important platforms. If my source energy matrix can be strengthened by 20 times, I can connect to the Yun-Sex laboratory and participate in the complex experiments, creating a stable, virtual, spiritual world." Chu Tian nodded. Without considering the size, adding a few more source energy matrices, it wouldn't be hard to increase it by 5 to 20 times. "Young miss, tell Central State to hurry up." "Do you even need to say this?" Meng Qingwu rolled her eyes at him. "I've already given the order." This was simply a god. This was everyone's only evaluation of Zero. Chapter 9:39. The Black Moon sect's main hall exploded. Saber Chi soared into the sky. The might of this saber almost sent the roof of the hall flying. Two extremely fast figures charged out. One of them was the Black Moon sect's vice sect master, Endless Een, and the other was a stranger covered in flames that looked like a demon. The two of them attacked each other in the air, and the Saber Chi and Sword Chi collided, causing an explosion. The two of them were sent flying, causing the Black Moon sect disciples to cry out in shock. He's evenly matched with the Vice sect master. This is the peak expert of the 5 famous mountains. He uses a sword. Could he be someone from the Heavenly Sword Mountain? No matter who it is, daring to make a move in the sect's forbidden area is provoking the Black Moon sect. Open the restriction, open the barrier, and immediately prepare the talismans. Kill him with the bows and arrows. The Black Moon sect was thrown into chaos as countless cultivators prepared to surround him. No matter how high Chu Tian's cultivation was, with the Heavenly Een Mountain sect protecting Array and the tens of thousands of cultivators working together, he had no chance of resisting at all. Stop! Everyone stop! Meng Ying shattered the wall with a palm and shouted at the people outside, "Look who is in our hands. If anyone dares to sneak attack, we'll kill them." The Black Moon sect disciples' eyes almost popped out. The wall of the main hall collapsed, and when the dust settled, an incomparably large block of ice appeared in front of them. This ice mountain was completely clear, without any impurities in it. If it wasn't for the light reflecting off the edges and the cold aura, people wouldn't have even noticed the existence of this large block of ice. It's the elders. The Black Moon sect disciples were stunned to find that the elders they respected like gods were all sealed in a large block of ice. Most of them still had a panicked expression as they ran away. Although there were still signs of life, they were frozen in ice and they didn't have any ability to move or resist. Meng Ying supported Chunbingyu with one hand and slapped the block of ice with the other. On the surface of the large block of ice, several small cracks appeared. Stop! Everyone stop! The Black Moon sect's people quickly stopped. Arrows and arrows. Too sinister, too hateful, but how did they do it? These elders were all true spirit realm experts. Why were they frozen in the ice mountain? Meng Ying looked at the Black Moon sect's gate that was becoming more and more crowded, and her heart was a bit hesitant. This matter was becoming bigger and bigger. She really didn't know how to end it. But this was also good. They would teach the Black Moon sect a lesson first, and Chu Tian's name would spread across the Great Zhou country. At that time, no one would look down on them when they went to the other sections. The two of them were about to fight. Endless Een was the Black Moon sect's vice sect master, so his Black Moon demonic art had been cultivated to the perfection realm. This was one of the Black Moon sect's main inherited cultivation techniques, cultivating extreme Een Qi, allowing one to transform into demons and ghosts. Therefore, it was very hard to deal with. Chu Tian released the demon god's sword and the flame demon transformation, but he could barely keep himself from losing. Endless Een was already filled with rage. These damn fellows dared to take a sect elder as a hostage. If this matter was spread, the Black Moon sect would lose all face. The only thing they could do now was to defeat them in one fell swoop and use this person as a hostage to deal with the two women. Black Moon Demon. Endless Een did not have any thoughts of slowly probing. Since the other side was in the first true spirit layer, although his battle strength was shocking, his spirit energy was too strong. Endless Een did not need to worry about using his spirit energy. He just needed to use his strongest move to deal with him. More than a dozen ferocious-looking ghosts emerged from their bodies. These ghosts were wearing similar clothes to Endless Een, but they didn't wear masks, revealing a dried corpse face. They held a purple and black ghost head blade in their hands that released a ghostly mist. They flew through the clouds and flickered, instantly appearing all around Chu Tian. These were not normal undead monsters. Rather, they were formed from Een souls refined by the profound Een demonic technique for over 10 years. Each one of them was not inferior to a true spirit cultivator, and if several Een source spirits attacked at the same time, Even someone in the third true spirit layer would have trouble dealing with them. So powerful. This was the Vice Sect Master's strength. The Black Moon Sect disciples were filled with excitement. With the battle strength of several Black Moon demons and the Vice Sect Master's own battle strength, it was hard for them to fight against experts of the same level. After all, he was the Vice Sect Master, having a high position and monopolizing resources. Not to mention anything else, just these several Black Moon demons would consume a terrifying amount of resources to refine. With this kind of status, it wasn't strange for him to be stronger than people of the same level. Chu Tian gave a laugh. I'm truly sorry. If you didn't cultivate a demonic art, perhaps you could fight me. Speaking indiscriminately, Dai. The endless Een ghost head blade turned into a 10-meter-long blade that slashed out like a dazzling beam. The several dozen Black Moon demons seized this chance and charged at Chu Tian from all directions. Each person's ghost head blade turned into a 12-meter-long blade that attacked him at the same time. Chu Tian's path of retreat was completely blocked, so he had no other choice but to block. But even the sacred light body couldn't block this kind of attack. When Chu Tian was about to be dismembered, the several Black Moon demons let out pitiful cries as they exploded one by one. Like smoke, they were all sent to the little white fox, and the little fox swallowed them all in a single bite. What? Endless Een watched as the Black Moon demons he had refined for several years was easily destroyed, and he couldn't help revealing a look of disbelief. In this short moment of shock, the blade glow slowed down a bit. Chu Tian's eyes turned white, and he obtained innate spatial energy. He jumped out and dodged the attack. Spatial energy. Innate spatial energy. Endless Een was shocked once again. When he turned around, Chu Tian was already standing behind Endless Een. The demon god's sword source spirit was summoned, and the Netherworld sword's power was released to its peak. Endless Een did not even have time to send out another slash when Chu Tian suddenly disappeared from spot. He turned into 8 figures that appeared beside him at the same time. 8 of them were real, and 8 of them were condensing an attack. Netherworld clone slash. Chu Tian didn't care at all. Gather. Back. Chioli. Li. Ming Group. Li. Chu. Nice smashing Chioli. Neon Thief Sigma. Warehouse Desolate Value. Song Sigma. Form. Chioli hashtag. Law 9 dish. Don't ask for advice. Endless Een gave a pitiful cry as his body protection cultivation technique was broken. Although he wasn't cut into pieces, he was still heavily injured and fell down from the sky. The Black Moon Sect's disciples almost collapsed. The sect elder had been captured as a hostage, and now even the respected Vice Sect Master had been defeated by the enemy. Was the Black Moon Sect really going to suffer a large loss this time? Chu Tian released the flame demon transformation and grabbed the heavily injured Endless Een, placing his sword across his neck. Meng Yingying revealed a look of joy. There was another heavyweight captive. Then they could properly extort the Black Moon Sect. The Black Moon Sect was a sect with thousands of years of history. They had accumulated quite a bit. It was unknown if they had spatial crystals. Endless Een was still conscious. The sword wound wasn't heavy, but the Netherworld ghost flame was too sinister. His cultivation needed to suppress the Netherworld flame in his body, so he couldn't resist it at all. Do you think you can leave the heavenly Een Mountains alive like this? Huh. You don't need to worry about this. Chu Tian retreated to the square. He grabbed Endless Een with one hand and waved his sword with the other. Your Vice Sect Master is in my hands now. Let's talk about the ransom conditions. These madmen, they actually wanted to capture the Vice Sect Master to extort the sect? Even if they captured the Elder and the Vice Sect Master, would they be able to relax? Once the Heavenly Een Mountains' various restrictions were activated, even if they had wings, they wouldn't be able to fly out of the Heavenly Een Mountain. Once the Heavenly Een Mountains' protective array was activated, it would instantly destroy everything. What confidence did he have to act so arrogantly here? But the Elder and Vice Sect Master were indeed captured. Most of the Black Moon Sect's high-level members had fallen into the hands of these people, and the Black Moon Sect couldn't find a single person to lead them. You call yourself the Great Summer Country's envoy, but I think you are just helpers brought by that woman. I'm telling you, the Great Zhou royal family has no hope. They have already been completely destroyed. What kind of storm can a trivial princess cause? Although I don't know who you are, meddling in the Great Zhou country's matters won't end well. Endless Een gritted his teeth. This was the only possibility. The Great Summer Country had just been established, so why would they fight with one of the Great Zhou country's 6 famous mountains? The Heavenly Een Mountain? Only someone with a screw loose would do this kind of thing. But I'm very sorry. Chu Tian's thinking was indeed different from normal people. The Great Zhou royal family's princess? Chu Tian really didn't know Chun Bingyu's identity. The Great Zhou royal family was slaughtered, and Chun Bingyu was the only fish that escaped the net. This could also explain why Chun Bingyu wandered alone and finally joined the Nangong family as a guest official in Imperial City, staying with the Nangong family for 10 years. Chu Tian didn't know what was going on, but it didn't matter. He would figure out sooner or later. He had the advantage now. Chun Bingyu had sealed most of the Black Moon sect's high-level members. With these people's lives in his hands, the Black Moon sect wouldn't take any risks, so there was room for negotiation. The 3 of them were not afraid of the Black Moon sect's people from the beginning. If the situation was bad, the 3 of them could return to Central State City or Miracle City, even taking a few hostages along the way. Unless the Black Moon sect had a powerful existence that could instantly kill the 3 of them, making it so they couldn't even activate their transport scrolls. But this possibility was very small. If Chu Tian used all his cards, not to mention someone like Endless Een, even a spirit transformation expert wouldn't be able to instantly kill the 3 of them. Why hasn't the Black Moon sect's true boss appeared yet? Where is he? Quickly say it. Humph! If the sect master wasn't in closed-door cultivation, how could you be so arrogant? 10 minutes. Chu Tian placed a sword on Endless Yin's neck. Call your sect master out to see me. Otherwise, I'll cut this fellow. You. Chapter 940. Smart Brain's abilities were not limited to this. It could be used in all aspects of life in the future. From production automation to military construction, resource exploration, strategic planning, inventions, and even predictions, it was omnipotent and could be used in any way. Smart Brain was absolutely calm. It had intelligence, but no emotions, unconditionally obeying its creator and unconditionally carrying out orders. Smart Brain would not be tied down by emotions or morals. Everything was calculated to achieve the best result. It was absolutely cold, absolutely righteous, and absolutely rational. Speaking of this, in less than half a month, the young miss had actually managed Zero into managing the city. This was definitely not an easy matter. With a super strong assistant like Zero, a meticulous, cautious, and intelligent manager like the young miss, as well as a heaven-defying person like Chu Tian, Miracle City's future was limitless. They were finally on the right track. If Smart Brain did not appear, Miracle Commerce would only be the richest company on the continent. Chu Tian did not pursue this. He wanted to transcend and surpass them. Smart Brain's appearance would increase his knowledge and wisdom by several times, allowing him to reach his goal. Zero, please introduce Miracle Commerce and Miracle City situation to our little sister, Sect Master. All right, Sir City Lord. Zero's figure suddenly disappeared from the array, and his voice came from the speakers around him. A shadow was projected out. Miracle Commerce's founders Chu Tian, Meng Qingwu, Meng Yingying, and Nangong Yun have been in the southern summer country's South Sky City for a year and a half. Miracle Commerce was established as a shell company without any fame, relying on the Meng family's small southern cloud commerce. Chairman Chu Tian's Source Energy Cooking, Source Energy Electric Lamps, and other innovative products opened up the market. Zero spoke in an orderly manner while changing the various images. Chu Tian, Meng Qingwu, Meng Yingying, and Nangong Yun. The 4 of them watched this series of changes, and they all felt like time was passing by. Although it had only been a year and a half, Miracle Commerce had already undergone this earth-shattering change. When they looked back at it all, it felt like it was unreal. Meng Yingying was a little moved. I never thought we would experience this much. Zero explained Miracle Commerce's history and development. Miracle Commerce has worked hard in the Forest of Chaos for several months and has finally established their headquarters in Miracle City. Now Miracle Commerce has a total of 140,000 employees and over 100,000 soldiers. The Yun sect has recruited 550 top scholars from the known Great Elder Clark and now has over 3,000 high-level researchers. The Chu sect has recruited the Druid Prophet Yoda, the Shaman Priest Luz, the Minotaur Arnold, and etc., and now they have over 300 high-level guest officials. Miracle Commerce has 85 factories, and the Great Summer Country's Central State and Southern State have large laboratories as well as the Gnome Research Center of this era. They have a strong development potential, and the future is limitless. Zero introduced Miracle Commerce's history once. Every product and every action of Miracle Commerce was simply described. This directly impacted Ian's spirit's heart. Although she had heard that the Southern Summer Country had an incredible company in the Black Moon sect, there were canned food, electric lamps, and other small things that came from caravans. Ian's spirit never thought that Miracle Commerce would be this strong. It was truly a bit unbelievable. What Ian's spirit was truly shocked about was not Miracle Commerce's miraculous rise, but rather the young man standing beside her who seemed like a playboy. Miracle Commerce's rise was not the history of a business empire, but rather the miracle created by this fellow. There was no doubt. Chu Tian was the absolute soul of Miracle Commerce. Although Chu Tian never interfered with the company's management, if Miracle Commerce didn't have Chu Tian, they wouldn't be able to reach their current level in 100 or even 1,000 years. Ian's spirit never would have dreamed that this arrogant and hateful fellow would be this kind of powerful person. There wouldn't be a second person like this on the entire continent. Meng Qingwu gave Zero a new order. Zero, please explain our plans for the Forest of Chaos. Yes, Vice City Lord. As soon as Zero's voice fell, several dozen mirrors left their frames and floated in the air. They pieced together, tightly fitting together without any gaps, finally forming a single mirror. A bird's-eye view of Miracle City slowly appeared on it. Miracle City is a typical forest city, with over 98% of the land being covered in forest. The land is used very low, and the population is very small. We plan to develop 10% of Miracle City's area, with a maximum population of 10 million. In this image, a portion of the area was split apart, and this part of the area was split a second time. In the end, more than a dozen areas were formed, and each area was noted. From the living area, the industrial area, the breeding area, the planting area, the entertainment area, the commercial area, and the school area, they were all clearly planned. Zero released a simulation of the city. When Ian's spirit saw the simulation of the city in the mirror, her eyes instantly popped out because Miracle City was just too beautiful, and it was an ultra-modern city. Although it was only 10% of the developed area, it was still larger than the Southern Summer Imperial City. The forest terrain could not be calculated on a flat surface. It was a true three-dimensional space. It was unknown how many people could live in a 2,000-meter-tall mountain. Even if the future city had 10 million people, it would be spread out, giving people the feeling that the city was a perfect garden city. It would not be as crowded as a normal human city. It was probably for the sake of traffic. Miracle City was prepared to build large amounts of rails, air transportation, and buy enough ruin mounts. This way, they would be able to connect the large city, and it would be much more convenient for the citizens to travel. These are just normal city constructions. When Zero's voice came out, the image in the giant mirror began to rise. It passed the several thousand-meter-tall mountain and finally reached above the clouds. There was an incomparably large object that was standing in the sky. Miracle City will gather all their resources and technology in the future to create a floating city that can move. This floating city is not just a floating city and a fortress in the sky. It is also Miracle Commerce's core headquarters and the symbol of the continent's peak technology. This was a plan Meng Qingwu had Zero make after gathering the information and technology of miracle commerce. Zero made large amounts of calculations and finally came up with the most reasonable city plan. At the same time, he proposed the construction of the Sky City because with miracle commerce's ability, it was possible to build this kind of fortress in the sky. Once the Sky City was completed, not only would it become miracle commerce's symbol, it would also be a moving fortress and a powerful heavy weapons firing center. It would become a peak military deterrent on the continent, making the entire forest of chaos submit to them and laying the foundation for miracle commerce's expansion on the continent. In-Spirit's mouth was wide open, almost able to swallow a chicken egg. This trip to Miracle City had simply destroyed her worldview. In-Spirit had always been proud of the Black Moon sect, and even looked down on miracle commerce. Now it seemed like with miracle commerce's current strength, they wouldn't lose to the Black Moon sect. The Chu sect's guest officials included Yoda, Luz, Arnold, and other forest experts. In terms of experts, they could crush the Black Moon sect. Although the Black Moon sect had 200,000 elite cultivators, in terms of military strength and completeness, miracle commerce was still a bit lacking. Miracle Commerce's source energy weapons could quickly arm the entire army, and with the Heaven's Punishment airships as a deterrent. Even if the Black Moon sect hid in the mountain protecting array, they would only be safe for a while. After the situation was introduced, Chu Tian brought In-Spirit to stroll around Miracle City. Although Miracle City had a small population and their strength wasn't outstanding in the forest, ever since Miracle Commerce moved in, this place was filled with vitality. Miracle City had just recruited several tens of thousands of soldiers, and there were many people who doubted Chu Tian's decision, but now it seemed like it was not a loss. Miracle City now had several tens of thousands of strong workers. Miracle City was currently undergoing a large development, and these several tens of thousands of people were the main construction team. The Miracle Shopping Center, the theater, the restaurant, the inn, and the gambling house all had to be built. After all, only with a complete set of equipment could it attract people. Other than that, the virtual arena, the virtual trial field, and the spiritual library, all of these special equipment needed to be built. There was no need to mention the other basic equipment. This was definitely a large project. Luckily, Miracle Commerce did not lack resources and had a strong transportation system. Now, with several tens of thousands of workers and several tens of thousands of temporary workers, large amounts of gnomes volunteering to help, and Miracle Commerce wildly spending money, the city was already beginning to take shape. In-Spirit stood on a hill, looking at the bustling Miracle City. She could deeply feel the vitality of this city and the strong power hidden in this city. Whether it was the citizens or the forest locals, they were all filled with passion when it came to building the city. This was because these people had already seen Miracle Commerce's strength and could feel the changes Miracle Commerce had brought to their lives. The canned food, the communication device, the magnetic sound device, the video displayer, and etc. These little things were all changing their lives in an unprecedented way. These people all had a premonition. An unprecedentedly beautiful home was being born. Who didn't want their home to be better? Therefore, when they were building the city, they were not just building it for Miracle Commerce. They were building it for themselves and for their future generations. The difference was too large. What did the Black Moon sect count for in front of Miracle Commerce? The current In-Spirit completely believed the wild word Chu Tian said a few days ago. Chu Tian crossed his arms across his chest. The powers in the forest of chaos are very strong. So Miracle Commerce is not willing to touch them for now. So we can only use our unique advantage to expand our territory in the outside world. Great Summer, Great Zhou, and Northern Militant. Once the three countries join together, the surrounding 7-8 small countries will not be a problem. This will provide a strong support for Miracle Commerce's development. They can challenge the Eagle Burial Kingdom in the north and defend a region in the Forest of Chaos, laying a foundation for fighting the forest giants. So Little Sister Sect Master, whether you are willing or not, the Great Zhou country must be unified. That's right. This was not a joke. This had a large strategic significance to miracle commerce. There was no need to worry about the Great Summer Country and miracle commerce's relationship. The northern militant country was in a state of disunity, so it wasn't hard to establish a government in the chaos. Only the Great Joe country was a bit troublesome. There were over 100 large and small powers led by the 6 spiritual mountains, and the special thing about the Great Joe country was that each sect was independent. Not only were they hidden deep in the mountains, they had their own inheritances, so it was too troublesome to deal with them like this. The best method was to support a spokesperson in the Great Joe country. Ean's spirit's innate talent was not bad, and she was very young. Chu Tian admired her, so he had this idea. He wanted to support the Black Moon sect to become the largest sect in the Great Joe country, allowing the Heavenly Ean Mountain to suppress the other 5 spiritual mountains. He would also rebuild the Great Joe royal family and control the small and medium sects in the secular world. The Great Joe country was rich in resources and had a deep background, so it could provide quite a bit of spatial crystals for miracle commerce. If these spatial crystals were used well, miracle commerce would have several more chess pieces. Chapter 941. 10 figures were carrying a coffin carved out of red crystal. The surroundings were shrouded in a hazy, bloody mist as they crossed the sky. The coffin was lifelike, and there were demons and monsters carved on it. A thick, murderous aura filled the entire sky, creating a strong sense of oppression. Meng Yingying was a bit nervous. The strongest one seems to be coming out. Chu Tian slightly raised his brows. 1,000-year corpse monster? The 10 people carrying the coffin were not living people at all. They were 10 Ean corpses. They were covered in red corpse hair and were covered in evil red corpse poison. These were all characteristics of corpse monsters. These were 10 corpse monsters with true spirit cultivation, each one being in the second true spirit layer. 10 second true spirit layer corpse monsters were enough to sweep through the Great Joe country. But what was even more terrifying was that these 10 corpse monsters had clear eyes. 10 pairs of eyes gathered together, and it was like they were looking at Chu Tian from afar, trying to be mysterious. Chu Tian released his mind's lamp divine sense and swept over the corpse monsters. He was surprised to find that the corpse monsters had weak thoughts and spiritual energy fluctuations, which meant that these 10 corpse monsters had a certain level of intelligence. Chu Tian gathered his divine sense and sent it into the coffin in the middle. The red coffin released a strong divine sense that instantly blocked Chu Tian's divine sense. The 2 divine senses collided in the air, and Chu Tian's divine sense could not break through the other side's divine sense barrier. Not a bad divine sense. A voice came from the red coffin. This voice was not a real voice, but rather it was directly transmitted into people's minds through the mind's lamp divine sense. Just a bit off. Chu Tian had never suffered a loss in terms of divine sense. The Black Moon sect's master clearly had the same mind's lamp divine sense as Chu Tian. This realm of divine sense could skip scouting and directly affect a target, but what was not simple was that his divine sense was a bit stronger than Chu Tian's. Is that so? Chu Tian's eyes suddenly turned golden, and the divine sense power that was originally surrounding the coffin suddenly condensed into an invisible divine sense sword, which suddenly pierced through the Black Moon sect's divine sense barrier. That's right, the Black Moon sect's master's divine sense was a bit stronger than Chu Tian's, but Chu Tian had turned his divine sense into an invisible divine sense sword. The Black Moon sect's master's divine sense barrier was like a large and fragile bubble that could be broken with a single poke. The Black Moon sect's master was hit by Chu Tian's divine sense as he let out a cry of surprise. The 10 corpse monsters carrying the coffin were cut off from their strings and fell from the sky. The large coffin also fell down and slammed into the ground with a deep sound. Chu Tian's face was filled with shock, because when his divine sense entered the coffin, the Black Moon sect's master's appearance appeared in front of him. It was actually a meter-tall little girl with 2 braids. She looked around 10 years old and had a childish look on her face. There's no mistake. Chu Tian had a puzzled look. The Black Moon sex master is a stinky brat. Rude. You're the one who hasn't reached adulthood yet. The coffin suddenly opened, and a figure soared into the sky. It was the little girl Chu Tian had just seen, but her face was pale like she hadn't seen the sun in 100 years. Her little body was wearing a large red robe, and she looked like a doll, but the Black Moon sex master's eyes were dark red, revealing a maturity that didn't match her appearance. I am the Black Moon sex 18th generation sect mastering spirit. I have been the sect master for 15 years. Greetings, sect master. Greetings, sect master. The Black Moon sect's cultivators all bowed down. Although the sect master didn't look shocking, she wasn't simple. She was the most outstanding person in the Black Moon sect in the last 1,000 years. She had cultivated the sect's profound dark demonic art, demonic corpse technique, and 9 netherworld meditation art to the perfection realm, combining it with her own situation to create a cultivation technique. She named it the Spirit Scripture. This cultivation technique was not inferior to the 6 famous mountains cultivation techniques. So it could be said that although the Black Moon sect master was the youngest of the 6 famous mountains, she was a genius of the present age. Chu Tian revealed a smile. This 10-year-old little girl's sect master was indeed a bit older, but she was around the same age as Chun Bingyu. She shouldn't be over 40 years old, but because she cultivated a special cultivation technique or had a special bloodline or physique, she maintained the appearance of a 10-year-old little girl. The 10 corpse monsters all stood up and returned to their sides. Een Spirit's little body floated up and floated in the middle of the 10 Een corpses, as if she was weightless. Because she had just suffered a loss, the great sect master felt very embarrassed. Her childish face revealed a fierce expression as she spoke in a childish voice, a trivial divine sense secret technique. This one doesn't care about it all. Why did you cause trouble in the heavenly Een mountain and capture my Black Moon sex people? Chu Tian understood Een Spirit's strength. 4th true spirit layer cultivation, heaven spirit realm strength. Perhaps it wouldn't be easy to deal with her. Not to mention that Chu Tian could feel that Een spirit energy was very strange and strong. She most likely had many ancient cultivation techniques, and she had cultivated them all to the perfection realm. So her battle strength was even stronger than Clark and the other locals. Chu Tian did not say anything, but Endless Een said, "That black-clothed girl is the great Zhou royal family's princess. They must be here for revenge. Don't worry about us. Sect Master, please make your move." Meng Yingying had a strange expression. Did these people make a mistake? Revenge for the great Zhou royal family? There was no such thing. Great Zhou royal family? The great Zhou royal family did not have a royal family. In the past, the great Zhou royal family was raised by the 6 famous mountains in the secular world. But who would have thought that this fellow would have a hidden bloodline power? They had been hiding their strength, trying to become the 7th power of the great Zhou country and control the entire secular world. Een Spirit thought back while saying in a childish voice, "It has to be said, the great Zhou king almost succeeded in the past. 18 years ago, the great Zhou royal family's strength was close to the 6 famous mountains. He only used a few generations to reach this step. This is truly amazing. Bloodline cultivators cannot be underestimated." So it was like this. Chu Tian understood what was going on. Under the lead of the Heavenly Sword Mountain, the 6 famous mountains attacked the great Zhou royal family. The Black Moon sex master was my master in the past. Although he did not participate in the attack, the royal family's destruction was not the fault of the 6 famous mountains. Rather, it was them destroying themselves. Een Spirit said in an old voice, "If you don't consider yourself, you are just a nouveau riche. If you want to challenge the thousands of years of heritage of the 6 famous mountains, what difference is there from seeking death?" Chu Tian nodded. What he said was a bit reasonable. Chun Bingyu furrowed her eyebrows. Her memories of what happened 18 years ago were already hazy. She knew just how powerful the 6 famous mountains were, so she had buried this matter deep within her heart. Although her parents and siblings had been brutally murdered, and she had always been filled with resentment, she had never thought about revenge. These fellows must have misunderstood. Chu Tian didn't know about her matter at all, Ian's spirit warned. Even if she is the last princess of the great Zhou royal family. The great Zhou royal family has already been destroyed, so she can't give you any promises. This one doesn't know what power is behind you. But if you go against the 6 famous mountains for her, that is not rational at all. Chu Tian shrugged his shoulders. Then how do you want to deal with us? Return the vice sect master, the elders, and this so-called great Zhou princess. Then cut off an arm as punishment, and this one will swear on the name of the sect master to let you go. Hey, dream on. Meng Yingying shouted. We won't hand over big sister Bingyu. If you have the skills, then come and catch us. Yin's spirit was enraged. She had already made a large concession. These fellows still dared to be this arrogant. Chu Tian's eyes turned. Sect Master's corpse refining skills aren't weak, actually having 10 corpse monsters as guards. Only I don't know how strong these corpse monsters are. Humph, it's more than enough to deal with these 3-legged cats. Since Sect Master says this, then let's play a game. Chu Tian said with a smile. Actually, this one knows a bit about corpse refining, so I'll use my refined Yin corpses to challenge Sect Master's Yin corpses. If Sect Master wins, we'll release them unconditionally, and if Sect Master loses, you'll help us and the great Zhou princess rebuild the royal family. Of course, you can refuse at that time, and we'll just watch the hostage-killing show. What do you think? It was like Yin's spirit had heard the funniest joke in the world, immediately breaking out in laughter. The other Black Moon sect people looked at each other in blank dismay. The 10 corpse monsters were in front of them. Was this fellow blind? He actually wanted to compete with the sect master in corpse refining. Could it be that he could take out Yin corpses that were stronger than the 10 corpse monsters? Meng Yingying and Chun Bingyu were a bit stunned, naturally understanding what Chu Tian wanted to do. Chun Bingyu looked at Chu Tian's figure with a bit of disbelief. Rebuild the great Zhou royal family? He wasn't joking, right? I'll bet with you. But where are your Yin corpses? Don't worry, they're all here. Chu Tian took out 18 small scrolls and placed them on the ground. These scrolls were spatial storage scrolls made from the leftover materials of the space tower. They could be used to store the 18 divine servants. Come out. The 18 spatial storage scrolls automatically opened, and the compressed space inside was released. 18 dark, golden-skinned figures appeared in front of them. They were the 18 divine servants that Chu Tian had spent a lot of time and effort to make. Yin Spirit said with a stunned expression, What kind of Yin corpses are these? The 18 divine servants that Chu Tian released completely subverted Yin Spirit's understanding of Yin corpses. The Yin corpses were divided into black Yin corpses, white Yin corpses, corpse monsters, and corpse kings. Unless it was a corpse king, the Yin corpses would be covered in fur. How could this fellow release a corpse king? The 18 Yin corpses looked very strange, but the energy fluctuations they released were around the same as the corpse monsters, even being a bit weaker. How did you refine them? You want to learn? Unorthodox methods. What is there to learn? Yin Spirit disdainfully said, I'll let you see how strong the corpse monsters controlled by the Yin Spirit scripture are. She didn't see any movements. The 10 Yin corpses took the initiative to take a step forward. Chu Tian understood, using divine sense to control them. This was why when Yin Spirit's divine sense failed in midair, the Yin corpses immediately lost control. This is only a competition between Yin corpses. Yin Spirit was worried that the same thing would happen again. If you dare use your divine sense to interfere with the control, the bet will be nullified. Don't blame me for being impolite at that time. Divine sense controlling corpses was very easy. But because of this, experts skilled in divine sense attacks were the bane of Yin Spirit's corpse control techniques. Yin Spirit knew her weakness, so she made her divine sense this strong. There was no one in the great Zhou country that could make her suffer a loss. This Chu Tian was the first. Chu Tian shrugged his shoulders. Of course, I'm a person with a competitive spirit. If you have any skills, then come. Yin Spirit's hands quickly formed seals, and 10 seals fell onto the 10 Yin corpses. Yin Spirit seal, external body, incarnation. The 10 corpse monsters seemed to be filled with some kind of power. Roar. The 10 corpse monsters released a powerful strength, forming their own source spirits. Even Chu Tian was shocked this time. What was going on? The corpse monsters also had source spirits. Chapter 942. This was not a small matter in the end. No matter how strong miracle commerce was, the little sister sect master couldn't make a decision on the spot. She still needed time to think about it. Even if she had decided to agree to Chu Tian, she still had to consider how to obtain the most benefits for herself and the Black Moon sect. This is the so-called seeing is believing. You might as well stay in Miracle City for a few days and walk around the city and the surroundings. I'll find someone to play with you. Chu Tian's eyes looked over everyone and saw that Vivian was about to jump out. She was too bored in the city lord's castle, so she couldn't ask for this kind of job. Vivian, you can play with the sect master. It's convenient for you to have spatial abilities, so you can eat, drink, and play at public expense, so have fun. Yes. It was hard for Vivian to hide her joy as she immediately stood up to greet Chu Tian. She impatiently turned to In Spirit and said, "Little sect master, let's go." In Spirit said in a dissatisfied voice, "Why do you have to add a little? Ha, ha, ha. According to human age, I'm already around 70 years old. I'm old enough to be your grandmother. Don't tell me I don't have the qualifications to call you that." This was the first time Vivian had used her age to suppress others, making In Spirit speechless. "Let's go." Vivian used her spatial energy, and the two of them disappeared. Elder sister Nangong, and I want to take a look at the trial field." "You can go." Nangong and Ying left in high spirits. Ying had been paying attention to the trial field. This trial field was going to be an amusement park in the future. As two people who loved to play, naturally they were very diligent. "Young miss, let's go as well." Chu Tian's eyes turned white, and the spatial energy he released was like a storm, instantly taking him and Meng Qingwu away. When Meng Qingwu came back to her senses, she had already returned to the city lord's castle. Meng Qingwu's beautiful eyes flashed with a trace of surprise. "Your spatial energy is not weaker than Vivian's." Chu Tian sat down on the city lord's throne and crossed his legs. He said with a proud expression, "Isn't this nonsense? How could my abilities be weak? Do you have any new results to report?" "The Great Summer Laboratory is progressing smoothly. The automatic array machine has been made." Meng Qingwu poured a cup of elven green tea for Chu Tian. She already had a tacit understanding with Chu Tian, so even if Chu Tian didn't say anything, she could guess what Chu Tian wanted to know. Therefore, she had already prepared everything before Chu Tian came back. Now that she opened the image transferring mirror in the conference room, the scene of Miracle Commerce's Central State Factory appeared in front of them. Several researchers first took out a crystal plate with a talisman design engraved on it. When the transparent talisman design was inserted into the machine and several source stones were inserted into the source stone slot, the machine began to activate. The pure primordial stones extracted from the primordial stones were extracted and finally poured into a crystal stone pen. This crystal stone pen automatically began to draw. In less than 2 minutes, a complete talisman was made. After testing the talisman, it was proven that the talisman could be used perfectly without any errors or flaws. This meant that Miracle Commerce had entered the industrial era. In the future, they wouldn't need to spend this much effort to make the super source energy matrix. With several hundred automatic array machines engraving talismans, they only needed to create a template, and it would be done once and for all. In the future, the production speed of these array machines would far surpass that of humans. Countless Yun sect scholars would be freed from the tedious and repetitive work. Miracle Commerce's production speed and output would explode, and they wouldn't need to worry about their trade secrets being leaked. Those freed scholars would have more time to improve and upgrade the source energy matrix, which was a very good thing. There's another very important matter to report. Meng Qingwu opened another image transfer mirror and switched to another image. Look! The image displayed in the mirror was of the basin where the battle with the Lich Fiend had taken place. There were a few gray towers built in the basin, and one of the ruins had been completed. It was emitting death energy, and there were hundreds of skeletons around it. They were busy moving junk, chopping wood, and mining rocks. Undead Tower? Wasn't this the Lich's Undead Tower? When did the young miss make this thing? Zero has the complete memories and knowledge of the Lich. This is a precious treasure. How can we waste it? Meng Qingwu revealed a faint smile. The death energy in the undead ruins almost destroyed Miracle City. Although I wasn't in Miracle City at the time, I was shocked when I heard of this matter. That energy must not be weak. If the Lich can control this energy, why can't we? These skeleton soldiers use the power of the undead tower to move around. They are as fast as the wind. They're simply natural laborers. When Meng Qingwu talked about the skeleton soldiers, she seemed very excited. No matter what kind of dirty work they do, they can do it without complaint. I don't think there's a single merchant that would reject this kind of good worker. If we can have several tens of thousands of these skeleton soldiers in the future, we won't have to worry about not having people to do hard and dangerous work like mining. They can even replace a lot of manual labor. Undead laborers, cheap economy. As a merchant, how could the young miss not realize this kind of good thing? Powerful, powerful. The young miss really deserves to be the pillar of Miracle City. Chu Tian gave high praise to the young miss. But the use of the undead tower isn't just to control the undead. Have Zero prepare the blueprint. I want to study it. The power of the undead ruins surpassed Chu Tian's imagination. Because it wasn't far from Miracle City, there would be many uses for it in the future. Meng Qingwu took a sip of the green tea, and the two of them were silent for a few seconds. She put down the cup. I worked behind the curtains all day, working hard for you. There are some things that you want to hide from me. Chu Tian was stunned by these words that came out of nowhere. What do you mean? The young miss looked at him with her bright eyes. When Chu Tian met her eyes, he felt an inexplicable panic in his heart. You know it in your heart. Meng Qingwu looked at him from the side. Her eyes that were as clear as a mirror. The gentle gaze that was filled with wisdom actually contained a bit of bitterness. The young miss always had the image of a strong woman in miracle commerce. There was no one in the company that didn't accept her position. For this kind of person to show an expression of resentment, it was like she was pregnant and abandoned by a heartless man. This made Chu Tian's scalp go numb. Chu Tian shook his head. I still don't know what you're talking about. Meng Qingwu saw that Chu Tian was still acting like a fool. She finally couldn't help slapping the table. It's about you and Yingying. How did you know? Chu Tian was very surprised, worrying about how to tell the young miss about this matter. He remembered what Yingying said on the prairies. Of course he knew what the young miss was thinking. How could he tell her about this matter? Who would have thought that the young miss already knew? Could it be that Yingying told you? Although she didn't tell me, with my relationship with Yingying, do you think you can hide this matter from me? The young miss snappily said, I am Yingying's closest big sister. Not only do we talk about everything, I've watched Yingying grow up, so I could be considered half a parent. Outsiders can't see the changes in her body, but do you think I can't see it? Chu Tian was a bit embarrassed. Yes, the young miss is very perceptive. Both of you are hiding it from me at the same time. When the young miss said this, she revealed a look of grievance. Truly too hateful. Chu Tian was in the wrong, so he argued, the matter of me and Yingying dating, I was prepared to tell everyone at the right time, but who would have thought that the young miss would find out ahead of time? I asked the young miss to forgive me. This one didn't do it on purpose. Humph, stop pretending. Do you think I don't understand you? Meng Qingwu stood up with her hands on the table. The aura of the female city lord and chairman completely erupted. I'm telling you, since you've started dating, you have to treat her well. If Yingying is wronged in the future, I won't forgive you. Yingying was too pure. She couldn't hide her thoughts at all. The entire Miracle Commerce knew that she liked Chu Tian, and Chu Tian had always taken special care of Yingying. Their relationship developing to this point could be said to be a matter of course. There was nothing to say. Meng Qingwu saw her little sister's happiness as an older sister. What else could she say? Meng Qingwu was stared at by Chu Tian for a while with a strange gaze. What are you looking at? You're giving Yingying to me this easily? What else could I do? Chu Tian muttered in his heart. Yingying said that the young miss also liked him, But looking at the young miss right now, she seemed very carefree. What did she look like she was jealous at all? Then I'm relieved. I was worried that Miracle Commerce would put on a good show of blood sisters fighting over a peerless husband, finally turning against each other. Hey, speaking without thinking. Meng Qingwu's face turned a little red. Are you very disappointed right now? Chu Tian gave a disappointed sigh. A bit. Come here. What for? Meng Qingwu reached out to grab Chu Tian's neck and gently leaned her head on his shoulder. The young miss had a dignified and steady personality, but she actually did this kind of thing. This was a bit hard for Chu Tian to believe. Hey, young miss, in broad daylight, it's not good for us to do this. Even if you can't help it, you should find a place with no one around. There are people watching right now. The little fox covered its eyes, indicating that it didn't see anything. They could continue. Don't speak nonsense. Meng Qingwu closed her eyes and softly said, I'm a bit tired, so I'll borrow your shoulder to lean on. I've been working for you for so long. You won't be this stingy, right? Chu Tian didn't know what to do, so he could only correct the young miss. You are Miracle Commerce's second largest shareholder and Miracle City's second city lord. How could you say you're working for me? Meng Qingwu acted like she didn't hear anything and said in a sleep-talking voice, Remember when Southern Summer's border was broken and we almost died trying to escape together? I'm afraid I won't forget it for my entire life. It's rare for a person like me to be in such a sorry state. We fell into the water together. You were heavily injured and I couldn't move, so we both died in the jaws of the beasts. You clearly could have escaped by yourself, so why did you risk your life to bring me to shore? You already tried your best, so even if you gave up on me, you didn't do anything wrong. You have to know that 1,000 Ming Qingwis can't compare to a single Chu Tian. This isn't doing business in the market. It can't be measured by value. This is a matter of a man's principles. There's no why. I knew it. Sometimes you really are a fool. Meng Qingwu gave a faint smile. Her voice was still very calm, as if she was chatting with a good friend. Did you know, from that moment on, after Ying, there was another important person in my life? Chu Tian said in a shocked voice. Young miss, can I think of it as you confessing to me? If you like it, then so be it. Meng Qingwu released her hands, revealing a blank expression. You and Ying are the people I care about the most. I am very happy that the two people I care about the most are happy. But at the same time, I feel helpless. It's like I've lost two people. What do you think I should do? This question is very good, very philosophical, very challenging. Chu Tian asked in a probing voice. Then how about I work a bit harder and marry both of you sisters this time? In your dreams, you're dreaming. Meng Qingwu had already returned to normal. She first glared at Chu Tian. From now on, treat Ying well. As for our matters, we'll slowly settle them in the future. You owe me quite a bit anyways. Meng Qingwu vented the stone in her heart and felt much more relaxed, continuing to work. The young miss was a very contradictory person. Chapter 943. The 10 corpse monsters released their source spirits. These source spirits were very special. They were all ghost skeletons. There was wind, fire, water, darkness, and thunder, but most of them had different attributes. Some were good at long-range attacks, and some were good at close combat. Ying's spirit's power was pushed to the peak, and her source spirit was released. Chu Tian had seen many strange source spirits in his 2 lives. The young Miss Book's source spirit, Meng Ying's mirror source spirit, and the Dongfang family's armament source spirit. These were all considered rare source spirits. Other than these, Chu Tian had seen mountains and rivers as source spirits, forests as source spirits, suns and moons as source spirits, and even gods and demons as source spirits like him. It was reasonable to say that no matter how strange it was, Chu Tian was used to it. But when he saw Ying's spirit's source spirit, he was still stunned. The space with Ying's spirit at the center was filled with darkness, being corroded by a strong death aura. Tombstones appeared around it, forming a graveyard in a short period of time. It wasn't a real graveyard. It was an image formed from spirit energy. In other words, it was Ying's spirit's source spirit. This fellow's source spirit was a graveyard. Chu Tian had never seen a graveyard as a source spirit before. There really were all kinds of strange things in this world. The 10 graves in Een Spirit's graveyard source spirit had already been emptied. It was the 10 child source spirits released from the graveyard source spirit that entered the Een corpses, giving them the power of a source spirit. Each Een corpse had some kind of connection with the Een spirit. They had already become Een spirits' incarnations and could use cultivation techniques with source spirits. Everything Een spirit had learned, she had already poured it into the Een corpses through her source spirit, allowing each Een corpse to have several perfection realm cultivation techniques. This is this one's self-created Een spirit scripture. Een spirit only cared about wildly laughing. The 10 corpse monsters spoke at the same time, speaking in place of Een spirit. What will your Een corpses use to fight this one? We haven't even started fighting yet. Don't be in a rush to talk big. All right, then I'll let you understand why you lost. The 10 corpse monsters were covered in demonic chi as they flew into the air. Countless ghosts came out of their bodies and finally gathered in their hands, forming a giant black seal. Profound Een large hand seal. The 18 divine servants didn't even have a chance to make a move. The 10 incomparably fierce, profound Een large hand seals swept over, and they didn't have any strength to resist at all. They were instantly sent flying like kites with their strings cut. Meng Yingying saw this shocking scene, and her chin almost fell off from shock. My God, these corpse monsters can also use this kind of top-grade secret technique. Chun Bingyu said with a serious expression. They have Een Spirit's perfection realm cultivation injected into them. In terms of attack strength and aura, each corpse monster's attack power is close to the Vice Sect Master Endless Yin's. Although these corpse monsters are in the second true spirit layer, the corpse poison and strength of the corpse monsters aren't weak. Adding an Een Spirit's knowledge and several perfection realm cultivation techniques, they might not lose against a third true spirit layer cultivator. Meng Yingying said in a voice of disbelief. How could there be such a powerful cultivation technique in this world? Actually, this cultivation technique is flawed because the corpse monsters don't have spirit energy and their power comes from Een Spirit. Chun Bingyu said with a calm expression. This also means that when Een Spirit releases the 10 child source spirits in her main source spirit, her source spirit will be crippled and most of her spirit energy will be injected into the corpse monsters' bodies. This also means that Een Spirit will be very weak right now. Although she still has the strength of a fourth true spirit layer cultivator, without the support of her source spirit, she can only be considered a normal fourth true spirit layer cultivator. Meng Yingying said with an emotional sigh. Although she's weakened, she still has the ability to protect herself. No matter what, she's still very, very strong. Ha ha ha. Een Spirit was like a child that had received a lollipop. Defeated, they've all been defeated. Your Een corpses can't even take a single blow. Interesting source spirit, interesting cultivation technique. He really is a talent. Chu Tian rubbed his chin as he looked at Een Spirit. I found that I like you a bit. You should just come with me. Een Spirit was filled with disgust. Scram, you've already lost. She swallowed her words before she could finish speaking, because the divine servants who had been knocked down by the fierce attack were now standing up one by one. Moreover, they seemed to be completely unharmed. Even after receiving such a fierce, profound Een palm imprint head-on, there wasn't even a scratch on their skin. Their dark, golden skin was like polished copper, giving off a mysterious feeling of invulnerability. Your Een corpses seem a bit strange. What will shock you is yet to come. Een Spirit gave a snort. Wasn't it just a bit sturdy? She didn't believe there were Een corpses she couldn't break, so she used the corpse monster clones and used the Black Moon Sect secret techniques. Profound Een large palm seal, destruction cross swords, extreme Een demonic shadow slash. The 10 corpse monsters displayed their strength. Basically anything Een Spirit knew, the 10 corpse monsters knew. With their perfection realm cultivation techniques and various secret techniques and martial arts, their attacks were like a wild storm. The divine servants were sent flying again and again, smashing into the ground. only to stand up again and again. Chu Tian seemed like he was purposely not fighting back. His hands were crossed in front of his chest like he was watching a play. 5 minutes, 10 minutes as time passed, Ian's spirit's mood went from shock to amazement, and finally to despair. No matter how fierce the attack was, even if the divine servants' bodies were destroyed, it was useless. They could recover in a short period of time. The consumption was increasing. She couldn't even kill a single divine servant. Why was it like this? Could it be that these Ian corpses had undying bodies? Chu Tian saw Ian's spirit say with a smile, "I was hoping that the sect master would come up with something new, but I never thought that you would be at your wits' end this quickly. Your Ian corpses don't seem like much." Ian's spirit's pale little face instantly turned dark. The 10 corpse monsters were Ian's spirit's pride, but they were like a joke in Chu Tian's eyes. This was simply trampling on her dignity. How could she not be angry? Chu Tian became even worse as he said, "Actually, this kind of bet is very unfair to you. After all, our strengths aren't on the same level, and if this is spread, others will say that I'm bullying a little girl. I suggest we change the method. Have your Ian corpses stand together, and as long as they can block a single attack from a divine servant, I'll lose this bet." "You're going too far. Going too far." Ian's spirit flew into a rage. Chu Tian shrugged his shoulders. "This is just a small suggestion out of goodwill. If you really don't accept it, then I have no choice but to keep fighting like this." Ian's spirit's teeth almost broke from gritting them. The 10 corpse monsters couldn't do anything to the 18 divine servants at all. The corpse monsters had already lost over half of their strength, and if they continued to be consumed, they wouldn't be able to fight anymore. "All right, since you dare be this arrogant, then let me see what kind of arrogance you have." The 10 corpse demons retreated and formed a triangular formation. They transmitted their strength to each other, instantly forming a black barrier. A layer of black armor appeared on each Ian corpse's body, and 2 layers of defense appeared at the same time. Ian spirit said in a cold voice, "This is the heavenly demon barrier and heavenly demon armor double layer of defense. Let's see how you break it." A divine servant came out and slowly released his strength. That dark golden skin had runes on it, and a hazy glow slowly covered its body. It went from weak to bright before quickly returning, like a snow-white cocoon tightly covering the divine servant's body. Ian's spirit could clearly feel the energy released from the divine servant's body. Although it wasn't strong, it gave people a feeling of a god descending from the heavens. The divine servant's aura quickly accumulated during this process, just like countless rivers gathering together to form an ocean. The divine servant suddenly cut its arm, and dark golden blood flowed out of its skin. Ian's spirit had attacked the divine servant for a long time, but the divine servant had not shed a single drop of blood from beginning to end. It was like this monster did not have any blood, and the dark golden blood flowed down its arm, finally covering its entire arm like a layer of wax. "Prepare. My attack is about to come." With Chu Tian's kind reminder, the divine servant's power was released, and its aura was condensed to the peak. It was like a cannonball as it charged in front of the 10 Ian corpses. The light around its body shined brightly as it suddenly raised its wax-like right arm and heavily punched the black barrier. The divine servant's white light gathered in its right arm, and when it was released from its fist, the white light was mixed with large amounts of dark golden light. This attack was not considered strong, not even reaching the 3rd true spirit layer. In terms of energy, it was impossible for it to break the barrier. However, the result of a drop of water falling in a rain cloth and a drop of magma falling on the rain was completely different. The power of the divine servants was mixed with divine power, and now, with the support of the god's blood that could break through any curse or darkness, the black barrier did not have the slightest bit of resistance, and was almost completely shattered in an instant. The protective cultivation techniques around the corpse monsters all collapsed. It was like the 10 corpse monsters had been washed by magma, instantly releasing smoke from their 7 orifices as their bodies turned black, falling to the ground one by one. At this time, After the divine servant released all the energy in her body, she also fell to the ground. Everyone was stunned. The 10 corpse monsters that the Black Moon sect was proud of. They had been defeated by a single punch from a divine servant. In spirit, could not accept this reality no matter what. After being stunned for several minutes, she suddenly screamed out, "No, my corpse monsters, you bastard! Do you know how long I used to refine them? Destroyed, you destroyed them all. I'll kill you, I'll definitely kill you." In spirit was like an angry gambler, or like a child whose last toy had been snatched away. In short, the bet had already been thrown to the back of her mind. Even if she had to kill all the hostages, In spirit would kill this damn fellow. This bastard had destroyed all her years of hard work. Why is the sect master so angry? Your corpse monsters have not been destroyed. They can still be used after being repaired. Chu Tian ignored In spirit's killing intent and anger as he said with a face that was asking for a beating. But after seeing the might of the divine servant, can you still look at these normal things? In spirit was suddenly silent as her face was filled with defeat and dejection. She looked at the divine servant with an incomparable look of envy. Comparing her carefully refined corpse monsters to these divine servants, it was like comparing a dung pit stone to a top-quality gem. Chu Tian said in a bewitching voice, "These divine servants are my work, and I have some leftover materials, so I can turn your corpses into divine servants." Really? In spirit revealed a look of joy, as if she had forgotten her hatred for Chu Tian. However, she immediately became vigilant. Don't think that you can buy the entire Black Moon sect like this. Little sister, this isn't right. Chu Tian, never liked taking advantage of people, especially a minor like you. Chu Tian shook his head. Cooperation, it's cooperation. The Black Moon sect and Miracle Commerce will cooperate. We will both win. You're not allowed to call me little sister. This one is older than you. In spirit thought of something. Wait, you said you're Chu Tian? Miracle Commerce is Chu Tian? Sect Master has heard of this one's little name. It truly is an honor. Can we have a proper talk? Since we're talking about cooperation, you should at least show some sincerity. Chu Tian released Endless In and waved his hand at Chun Bingyu. Chun Bingyu understood and immediately released the seal, freeing the Black Moon sect elders and protectors from their frozen state. He released the hostages like this. He was too bold. The Black Moon sect disciples saw this and immediately surrounded the three of them. Chapter 944. Vivian began to lead In spirit to eat, drink, and play. Although the city was still under construction and the foundations weren't complete, it was still something other cities couldn't compare to. Vivian already wanted to have a good time, so she immediately made a plan. We'll first watch a movie, then we'll go to the shopping center, then we'll eat at the Miracle Hotel, and finally we'll play in the trial field. What do you think? How could In spirit have an idea? She would just follow his arrangements. Come, we'll go to the theater to buy tickets. The two of them chose the luxurious Elven Hall and also wanted the most expensive VIP seats. The forest races all had different sizes and eating habits, so in this kind of entertainment area, it would be very inconvenient if they were all squeezed together. Therefore, they divided the different races into 4 different sized halls. There was the Ogre Hall, the Orc Hall, the Elven Hall, and the Goblin Hall. From the names, one could tell the sizes of the different halls, which meant that Miracle City had many races and was a diverse city. The two of them came to the VIP seats, and a large screen was right in front of them. This was the best position, but the price wasn't cheap. The normal seats were all filled with gnomes and fox people. There weren't any large ogres or minotaurs in this hall, and adding in the fact that it was a luxurious hall, the price was very high and the standard was very high. The smelly lizard men couldn't enter, so the conditions were very good. Hello, Vice City Lord. The 2 half-elf waitresses recognized Vivian. They immediately came up to her respectfully. What can I do for you? Let me see. Vivian took a look at the menu in an old voice. I want a cup of high-grade elven green tea. It has to be from the Eternal Forest and a spoonful of Lost Forest fantasy grass powder. As for desserts, I want the gnome's 100-year secret golden truffle, purple gold melon from Flying Dragon Mountain, dragon caviar biscuits from the underground world. Vivian ordered the most expensive ones. The two waiters' mouths turned into O shapes. These were all the most expensive things. Not to mention the others. Just the price of a cup of Eternal Forest elven green tea was enough to scare a person to death. These desserts were all expensive. If it wasn't for Vivian wearing the city lord's robe sitting here, they would have called the guards to drive them out. Vivian looked at Ian's spirit beside her after ordering. What do you want to drink? Miracle City has everything. There are all kinds of spiritual teas and several dozen kinds of thousand-year wines, with some even being transported from the space warehouse. There are also many kinds of desserts, so just order whatever you want. There's no need to be polite. Ian's spirit was filled with emotions. Being able to enjoy all kinds of good things without leaving the house. This kind of life was truly satisfying. I'll order the same thing as you. We don't have any of these things in stock, so we need to take them from the space warehouse, so we need to pay the fee first. The two waiters suppressed the shock in their hearts. Does the Vice City Lord want to pay on the spot, or? Vivian gave the menu to the waiters. I didn't bring any money. Today is business, and I have the City Lord's authorization, so everything will be recorded in the City Lord's palace. Quickly bring the things up. Don't delay Miracle City's guests. Vivian was the City Lord and had a high administrative position, but her position in the company was several levels lower than Meng Qingwu's, so her authority couldn't compare to Meng Qingwu's. The theater was opened by Miracle Commerce, so even if Vivian was the City Lord, she couldn't just eat and drink here. This matter had to be confirmed immediately. How could they confirm it? The two waiters found the theater owner and used the communication device to contact the city administrator. They immediately found Vivian's situation on Zero's side. Everything today was paid by the city's finance department, so they didn't have any worries. 2 cups of elven green tea were immediately brought up. There were all kinds of desserts that dazzled people's eyes. The fragrance from the VIP seats filled the entire theater, and everyone couldn't help looking over. Vivian was in a very good mood and immediately said, "There are guests coming to Miracle City today. This city lord is also very happy. I'll treat everyone here to a cup of elven tea." Everyone loudly thanked the Vice City Lord. Ian's spirit couldn't help thinking that with the City Lord and Vice City Lord messing around like this, it really wasn't easy for Miracle City to develop to this day. It really wasn't easy for that beautiful and noble female City Lord. The elven green tea was very expensive, not to mention it came from the Eternal Forest. Ian's spirit took a small sip and immediately felt a strong vitality flowing through her body like an ocean. This was because there was a spoonful of the Lost Forest fantasy grass powder in the green tea. This spiritual material was similar to a hallucinogen, giving people an unimaginable sense of joy. Even if it was a helpless person, as long as they took a small sip, they would feel joy in their body and mind. It was like they were in the clouds, a high and mighty princess, the happiest person in the world. The desserts Vivian wanted were all of the best quality from the forest. The gnome's secret golden truffle, the flying dragon cliff's golden melon, the dangerous devil's mouth under Miracle City, and the dark world's dragon caviar biscuits. Each one was made from the best materials in the forest. Ian's spirit was the Great Zhou country's Black Moon sect master, but she had never experienced this kind of enjoyment before. At this time, the movie in the theater began to play. Miracle Commerce's movie production was becoming more and more mature. Not only were there wandering poets from all over, there were also the flower fairies, elves, and gnomes participating. Each story was filled with imagination, and the story was full of ups and downs, making people immersed in it. The movie the two of them were watching was The Demon Dragon, which was the story of a hell demon dragon and the forest's various races. From the beginning, the large races in the forest didn't like each other, fighting openly and secretly. Then the demon dragon descended into the forest, instantly turning the world into scorched earth. Finally, the surviving forest races were led by a hero and broke through the barriers and conflicts of the past. With a tragic, epic battle, they finally defeated the terrifying demon dragon. Finally, the descendants of the hero lived together and built a forest city. The entire story was 3 hours long, and it could be said to be extremely intense. It was filled with honor, responsibility, family, love, and sacrifice, mainly promoting the unity of the forest races. Finally, it hinted at the path Miracle City would take, and also used this theme to advertise the held demon dragon's trial that Miracle City had just completed. Too wonderful. Ian's spirit was completely immersed in this epic story. It feels like I'm personally witnessing a legend. Vivian finished her green tea and ate the last half of the sandwich. There are several cinemas like this in the Great Summer Country, but most of them are in the Great Summer Country. It's said that they have already spread to the non-main cities and have become the main form of entertainment for people. We can also place advertisements according to the needs of the local merchants, so each movie can make over 100 times the profit. The Great Joe Country has more people than the Great Summer Country, so just the cinemas are a large piece of fat meat. The Great Joe Country had a population of 400 million, which was around double the Great Summer Country's population. The cinemas in Miracle Commerce's business weren't that eye-catching. They couldn't compare to the spatial transportation, warehouse, spiritual energy, or communication, but they still had a high value. It was enough to support a large company. Come, we'll take a look at the Miracle Shopping Center. Perhaps there'll be something you like. Vivian brought Ian's spirit to the Miracle Shopping Center, which was made from a small castle. When Ian's spirit walked in, she found that this shopping center was very large. Not only were there many counters, there were also some special products that were displayed through image transfer mirrors or illusions. These all needed to be ordered. The Miracle Shopping Center's advantage was something normal stores couldn't compare to. Just the space warehouse could bring things from all over the world to one place, making this place the largest and most convenient shopping center in the world. As long as one had enough money, there was nothing they couldn't buy in the Miracle Shopping Center in the future. Although the Miracle Shopping Center isn't complete, it has already been connected to the Great Summer Country, Oldman Small Town, and the surrounding tribes and towns. Don't think that this place isn't big. There are already over 4,000 of them, with over 500 of them coming from the forest. At this time, 2 ogre children passed by Vivian. They immediately stopped and gave a polite greeting to Vivian. "Hello, Vice City Lord. Are you here to shop?" Vivian looked at the 2 ogre children with curiosity. Although they were children, they were already twice Vivian's age. The 2 ogre children looked very shy, and their pronunciation was a bit off. No, we're here to do business." Do business? This surprise cry came from Ian's spirit. The ogres were a race that only had brute force and no brains. They actually knew how to do business? One of the ogres said, "Our tribe has an orchard behind us that can produce high-quality spirit fruits. Many rich human nobles like to eat it. When the esteemed Lady Dolores passed by our tribe, she discovered this fruit orchard. She generously provided us with a loan, allowing our tribesmen to develop the fruit orchard. Right now, there are sales outlets in 10 cities of the human Great Xia Kingdom, and we're selling plenty of fruits every day. We are here to deliver the goods, and the fruits that were stored in the warehouse are almost sold out." Vivian revealed an expression of understanding. "Then you must have earned quite a bit." The ogres didn't have any schemes, and the 2 ogres revealed grateful expressions. "Our harvest this week is more than a year. The human nobles are just too rich. These spirit fruits are everywhere in the forest, but they're willing to spend precious source stones to buy them." "That's right," the other ogres said. "The respected Dolores has found people to build a jam factory for the ogres. In the future, we can sell the fruit jams and earn double the money. There are too many good things in the forest, and we've recently opened a mine. These ores are very valuable in the human countries. Under the guidance of the respected Dolores, we will soon have an ogre company. As long as Miracle City exists, everyone's days will become better and better." There had never been ogre merchants in the forest. This was because ogres were stupid and had no business sense. The situation was different now. After Dolores inspected them, she gave them money, gave them pointers, and even found people to help them start a business. Moreover, the Miracle Shopping Center was fair and transparent, so even ogres wouldn't be cheated. So it wasn't strange for ogre merchants and minotaurs to appear. Ian's spirit now knew that Miracle City didn't just make them rich, they could also make the people around them make money. We still need to move a few batches of fruits, otherwise the great summer country won't have any. All right, Vivian nodded. Then you can go do your work. Yes, our tribe is at counter 223. You're welcome to try and buy our spirit fruits. These two ogres seemed like they were very busy. They said goodbye to Vivian and immediately left. Ian's spirit felt like she had suffered a large impact. A part of the Great Zhou country was on the edge of the Forest of Chaos, so they were frequently attacked by ogres. In her impression, ogres were a group of people who ate raw meat and blood, wild and violent fellows. But now, the two ogres wore clean leather vests. Their skin, which was supposed to be tougher than rhinoceroses and covered in parasites, had been brushed at least 10 times before they left the house. Their bloody mouths, which were used to munch on human flesh and brains as snacks, were now filled with joy and satisfaction. There weren't just ogre merchants in the Miracle Shopping Center. There were also various races, strong and weak. They were all busy and filled with order. Although the current Miracle Shopping Center wasn't large, with the flourishing scene in front of them and the fox merchants led by Dolores, the future could be predicted. Chapter 945. Chu Tian was sitting on the table with a faint smile and crossing his legs. The little fox was lazily lying on his shoulder yawning, with Chun Bingyu on his left and Meng Yingying on his right, with the 18 divine servants standing behind him like statues. If one didn't know the situation, they would think that Chu Tian was a rich family's young master, holding beauties on his left and right, participating in a tea party with bodyguards. In contrast to the several dozen angry Black Moon sect elders, protectors, vice sect master Enlisine, and etc. These people were all famous people in the Great Zhou country. Even a casual stomp of their feet could shake the Great Zhou country, but they could only stare at Chu Tian, unable to do anything. Sect master, why do we have to negotiate with this bastard? This fellow has caused the Black Moon sect to lose face. If today's matter were to be spread, our 2,000 years of reputation would be lost. Where would the heavenly Een Mountain's 10,000-year-old prestige go? Kill him, the Black Moon sect's people angrily shouted. Chu Tian's group's actions were hard to forgive. This matter did not just affect their personal reputation, it also shamed one of the most famous Great Zhou mountains, the heavenly Een Mountain. Would the 1,000 years of accumulation be destroyed in the hands of a little brat? Een Spirit's small body looked like she was around 10 years old. Adding in her red robe that didn't have a single wrinkle, she looked just like a little doll. Where did she have the aura of a sect master at all? However, he was sitting in the middle of the group of old men with an air of seniority, which gave people a very strange feeling. No matter how angry the elders and vice sect masters were, her expression didn't change at all. Her large black eyes curiously looked at Chu Tian. She didn't understand why Chu Tian was so fearless without a hostage in his hands. Een Spirit had a cultivation in the 4th true spirit layer and several dozen powerful elders and protectors, as well as tens of thousands of elite cultivators. If she wanted to kill a few people, she wouldn't be able to escape no matter what. Whether it was the elegant and indifferent Chun Bingyu, the young and immature Meng Yingying, or the mysterious and unfathomable Chu Tian, the three of them had never shown any signs of worry. This meant that they definitely had something to rely on, but what could it be? Hey, I say, little sister sect master, can you make these fellows who are barking like dogs shut up? Chu Tian changed to a more comfortable position in the chair. We're talking about the fate of the Black Moon sect. What is with all this noise? I'll say it again. You're not allowed to call me little sister. Een Spirit seemed like she hated this title. Her little hand slapped the stone table and the entire hall trembled. Your actions have already caused serious damage to the heavenly Een Mountain. I'm not thinking about cooperation right now. Rather, I'm thinking about how to deal with the three of you. The Black Moon sect cooperating with Miracle Commerce is beneficial. As for damaging the heavenly Een Mountain's reputation, I'm very sorry. This was not my original intention. But then again, it's better to suffer some losses than to be annihilated. Chu Tian's words were no different from a naked threat. The era of the Great Zhou country's 6 famous mountains is about to come to an end. The Great Zhou country will soon have a storm that will reshuffle the cards. It doesn't matter if you want to see it or not, but it will happen. Anyone that tries to stop the wheel of fate will be crushed to pieces. Too arrogant. Endless Een angrily roared. You want to topple the 6 famous mountains with just you? That's right, just me. Chu Tian was not polite at all. Actually, even if I don't interfere, once the Eagle Burial Warring Kingdom attacks, there won't be a single egg left intact. The Great Zhou country can't do anything alone. Even if they close their sect and hide, without any resources from the secular world, how can the 6 famous mountains develop? Not to mention the experts of the Eagle Burial Warring Kingdom are like clouds. It's a problem if your mountain protecting array can block them. Not to mention establishing your sect, you might not even be able to protect your old ancestor's grave. The elders were so angry that they were about to explode. This kind of arrogant attitude and this kind of taunting tone. How could these fellows tolerate this? Een Spirit's little hand came out of her sleeve and placed it on the table. There was a flash of cold light in her eyes. I know Chairman Chu is very interesting, and I know that Miracle Commerce has some new toys, but you have to understand that there are many things in this world that can't be bought with just a few source stones. This Chu believes that there is nothing in this world that can't be discussed. If a few source stones can't be bought, then what about several dozen, several hundred, several tens of thousands, several 100 million, several 100 billion, several trillion? Chu Tian revealed a very enticing smile. If you can give enough benefits, how hard would it be to buy the entire Black Moon sect? Een Spirit revealed 2 cute little canines as she revealed a smile. This one wants to hear what kind of price Chairman Chu can offer. Within half a year, the Black Moon sect will become the #1 sect in the Great Zhou country. Whether it is a normal sect or a small sect or the 6 famous mountains, the entire Great Zhou country will have to listen to the Heavenly Een Mountain. Everyone's eyes popped out. Did this fellow know the weight of these words? The 6 famous mountains have been fighting for over 1,000 years. Even if a certain sect could stand out for a while, their glory would only last 100 years. This was because once a famous mountain surpassed the other mountains by too much, the 5 famous mountains would work together to suppress it. There had never been a single sect that could suppress the other 5 mountains by themselves. Wasn't doing it in half a year nonsense? Chu Tian did not finish and raised 3 fingers. Within 3 years, the Black Moon sect will be spread across the surrounding large and small countries. The Black Moon sect will become the strongest sect in this area and the richest sect. This was even more nonsense. Een Spirit giggled. Chairman Chu really knows how to joke. With your Miracle Commerce's strength, you actually dare to boast like this. This is just too funny. Little sister, the sect master thinking this means you don't understand Miracle Commerce. Damn! Een Spirit was filled with anger as she slapped off a piece of the stone table. I already said not to call me little sister. Chu Tian did not care about Een Spirit's anger at all. Look at the 18 divine servants behind me. Do you still think Miracle Commerce is a normal company? Humph. I admit that the divine servants aren't bad, but so what? Een Spirit's eyes were filled with a strong desire when she looked at the divine servants. If her Een Spirit scripture combined with these divine servants, just how strong would they be? You still can't prove your strength, right? Could it be that just because of a word from you, the entire Black Moon sect will support you? You think too highly of yourselves. What you say is reasonable. Chu Tian's eyes turned. Does your sect have spatial crystals? Spatial crystals are very precious, but the Heavenly Een Mountain has been around for tens of thousands of years, so naturally we have some in reserve. Why are you asking this? Then it's easy, Chu Tian said. I'll immediately help you transform 10 Een corpses, and you can use the spatial crystals to pay for it. I think this business won't be a loss for you. You can transform my Een corpses into divine servants? No, I don't have many materials left. Although I can't completely transform them into divine servants, it's not far from it. They have a recovery power close to the divine servants and around 50% of the divine servant's divine power. This kind of undead puppet is called a death servant. Een Spirit knew that she couldn't transform them to be as strong as the divine servants, so she was a bit dissatisfied in her heart. But hearing that they had a strong recovery power like the divine servants, this was a large temptation to her. At least if she used spatial crystals to exchange for them, she wouldn't suffer a loss. Spatial crystals were rare, but what could they be used for? It was nothing more than making some storage tools. Even if the death servants weren't as strong as the divine servants, they were still very strong and hard to deal with puppets. These monsters that couldn't be killed had decent strength, and with Een Spirit's unique cultivation technique, they would all become incarnations, possessing terrifying strength. This was enough to increase the Black Moon sect's strength by a large amount. The most important thing was that the death servants were undead monsters. These monsters wouldn't die of old age, so they could be passed down as a treasure of the Black Moon sect. What do you want the spatial crystals for? I plan on building a transport tower for the Black Moon sect. Once this transport tower is built in the Black Moon sect, the Black Moon sect will undergo an earth-shattering change. Chu Tian said this before adding, however, what you need to pay attention to is that this transport tower isn't a free gift. Whether you agree to cooperate with Miracle Commerce or not, this transport tower will be an additional condition. The Black Moon sect can choose whether or not to keep the transport tower. If we keep it, then it will be equal to Miracle Commerce's condition. A third of the Black Moon sect will belong to Miracle Commerce, and as for Little Sister Sect Master, you'll be an employee of Miracle Commerce from now on. Everyone's faces fell. Bold. This person has wild ambitions. He actually wants to swallow the Black Moon sect. They had never heard of a sect becoming a shareholder. This was simply nonsense. Een Spirit gritted her teeth. This one is the respected Black Moon sect's master. You dare let this one run to Miracle Commerce as an employee? Don't speak so early. Chu Tian revealed a mysterious smile. It doesn't matter if you accept it or not. The choice is in your hands. If you choose not to keep the transport tower, I can't force you and can only dismantle it for the materials. As for you, you can at least obtain 10 death servants. No matter how you look at it, the Black Moon sect will not suffer a loss. Een Spirit carefully considered it. She didn't know what the transport tower was, but she didn't think there would be any danger. Since she was watching from the side, there shouldn't be any problems. All right, Een Spirit made her decision. I agree. Why don't you build that teleportation tower for me? I want to see what you're up to. The Black Moon sect took out all the spatial crystals they had stored in the sect. Chu Tian counted it and found that it was enough for one transport tower. So he collected it all and let Ming Ying be in charge of the transport tower's construction. Chu Tian took the rest of the divine blood to help Een Spirit transform her precious Een corpses. The transport tower would take several days to build. Chapter 946. The two of them strolled to their heart's content. It was natural for women to like shopping. The Miracle Shopping Center's system wasn't complete, but the products were quite rich. They could buy dwarven weapons here, they could buy special pills here, and they had the most complete material market. At least it was hard to find a more convenient, comprehensive, and large shopping center on the continent. Any shopaholic would be able to get the maximum satisfaction here. The convenience of shopping in the Miracle Shopping Center was not something any shopping center could compare to. Even if they didn't have stock, as long as they sent out an order, Miracle Commerce would use the space warehouse to send it over. This platform was not only a shopping and business heaven for Miracle City citizens, it was also a large benefit to the surrounding tribes. The surrounding towns and large tribes did not have the conditions to build a space warehouse, but they could use the radio to learn about the new products and promotions of the Miracle Shopping Center every day. They could use the communication device to inquire about the situation of the products, and they could send a message to the local shopping center every day. Miracle Commerce had prepared 10 Miracle Commerce airships to transport goods. Not for anything else, just to transport goods. Orders on the same day would be delivered the next day. High-altitude transportation was safe and reliable. The lives of the nearby tribes and small towns in the forest had been greatly improved. Their local products could be easily sold everywhere. They could buy high-quality human products from the Great Summer Country or the high-quality dwarven equipment from the dwarven mines in Ullman Small Town. Magnetic sound machines, video players, and etc., they were all popular in the hands of these locals. They listened to Miracle Commerce's information every day, ate the source energy food from Miracle Commerce, drank the good wine from the Miracle Shopping Center, and used the various human-made pills and tools. In the month that Miracle Commerce had appeared, it had already infiltrated every aspect of the surrounding locals' lives. Because of the industrial area in the forest, many locals found jobs. They didn't have the time or energy to fight all day like before, so they all entered the factories to train and prepare for jobs. Those locals who were unwilling to be ordinary now formed the forest partners in groups of 3s and 5s, creating a wave of entrepreneurship. After all, they were close to Miracle Commerce's future headquarters, Miracle City, so they had an advantage that other places on the continent didn't have. Dolores brought caravans to guide and invest. Now there would soon be a large plantation area, a breeding area, various medicine fields, orchards, and factories appearing in the forest. It was estimated that in just a year or two, they would spring up like bamboo shoots after the rain. Although these were all local businesses, they all had some Miracle Commerce shares in them. Miracle Bank was not stingy with lending everywhere, but source stones were tight and interest was raised again and again, but there were more and more people asking for loans because Miracle City's future was just too good. Right now, it was still a blank period, so with this wave of entrepreneurship and the Fox Race's guidance, there was basically no way they couldn't repay the loan, not to mention losing money. Ian Spirit felt that Miracle City was not simple. What Miracle City would become in the future was not something Ian Spirit could imagine. This place was already filled with endless possibilities. Hey, Ying, it's me, Vivian. It's dark. Let's eat together. Vivian took out the communication device to call Ying's number and said a few words. Right. Miracle Grand Hotel. We'll see you in a bit. After saying this, Vivian hung up. Let's go. Little sect master, I'll treat you to a delicious feast. With a wave of her hand, space was cut open and the two of them directly arrived at the Miracle Grand Hotel. This place was located at the top of a mountain in the center of a lake, surrounded by clear lake water. There was a towering mountain in the center with a castle hotel on top. There were bright moons and stars above their heads, giving them a different style. There was no smoke within several kilometers of the Miracle Grand Hotel, but don't look at how remote this place was. The Miracle Grand Hotel was very lively, with all the rich chiefs and gnomes coming here. Several of the halls were already filled. Vivian settled down in the best room by the lake. The space here was large, and the decorations were very elegant and natural. It was even connected to a large balcony. Outside, under the moonlight, was the clear and crystalline surface of the lake. If one was interested, they could even go down the stairs and sit in the pavilion to fish, drink tea, and admire the moon. Vivian held the thick dishes and didn't look at them carefully, directly ordering the most expensive ones. Even the soup was made from the Green Religion Temple's water of life, since it was all from Miracle Commerce. The elves were said to be simple. This princess didn't seem like an elf at all. At this time, Ying brought Nangong Yun to teleport and stumbled to the entrance of the hotel. The two of them almost fell into the lake. Nangong Yun immediately complained. Ying, what are you doing? We almost crashed into the mountain. Sorry. Ying kept apologizing. Who told spatial energy to be too complex? Even if I copied Vivian's source spirit, it would still be hard to control. Vivian immediately stood up. Over here, quickly come. The ingredients and spices for this feast were all incomparably precious level 3 materials. A source energy chef that could easily cook these ingredients had to be in the true spirit realm. This kind of person could be independent even in the Great Zhou country, but they had to be a chef. It could be imagined how high the cost was. Not to mention that this peak source energy chef was willing to put down the dignity of an expert to be a chef. This meant that he had a strong passion for food, so his skills were not bad. This table of meat and wine was very fragrant. Each dish was worth over 100 source stones. The four girls were all younger than each other. Nan Gongyan looked like she was around 18 or 19 years old. Meng Yingying was around 16, Vivian was around 13, 14, and the youngest Yin Spirit was around 10 years old. For these four girls to order such a luxurious table that could be considered a top-class banquet, it really made people speechless. It's really delicious. Nan Gongyun was the most impolite. She grabbed a bare paw and began to gnaw on it. Her mouth was covered in grease as she vaguely said, "How was your stroll today? Do you have time tonight? Let's go to the trial field." No one has been able to last more than 3 minutes in front of the Hell Demon Dragon's trial, so I think it won't be a problem for us to team up. All right, I was planning on going to the trial field to play. I'll also call Big Sister Chunbingyu over, Vivian said with an excited expression. Time passes slowly in the trial field. I don't believe that with our strength, we can't beat that demon dragon in an entire night. Meng Yingying tightly clenched her fists. That's right, defeat the demon dragon. The three of them were filled with fighting spirit. Yin Spirit was a bit confused. What kind of thing was this fun? I have something good for you. Meng Yingying revealed a cute smile. She searched her storage pocket and took out 2 palm-sized things. This is Big Sister Kai Dai and Big Sister Yin Yao. They made something good in Oldman Small Town, and it hasn't been popularized yet. Only the inner members have it. Feng Kai Dai, Yin Yao, and Yun Xiao were all high-level members of Miracle Commerce, but they were in Oldman Small Town, so they couldn't come to Miracle City for now. Oldman Small Town was very lively, and the market there was currently Miracle Commerce's largest. Miracle Commerce also had a research facility in the small town, and this thing was a good thing made there. What is this? Vivian looked over the thing a few times. This thing was a bit bigger than her palm, and it was made of metal. It was a bit heavy, and 2/3 of the front was covered in a mirror. Vivian could see it. It wasn't a normal mirror. Rather, it was a modified image transfer. The other third was covered in buttons. Although there isn't anything new, it is very creative. Meng Yingying seemed to like this little thing a lot. Our Miracle Commerce's #1 mechanical engineer, Tong Xiaoyu, brought several experienced researchers. They combined the magnetic sound device, video player, camera, and communication device together and shrunk it into this little thing. Don't you think it's magical? Is this true or false? Vivian's little face was filled with shock. Your meaning is that this little thing can listen to radio stations, receive images, take pictures, and even communicate. Of course, our Miracle Commerce truly has many talented people. Sit closer and I'll demonstrate it for you. The four of them moved their heads together. Meng Yingying pressed the top button, and the screen lit up. The device had been activated. There were many function buttons below it, and each button could activate a different function. There were simple diagrams drawn on the surface of the buttons, so they could basically be understood. This is the magnetic sound machine function. Meng Yingying pressed the button on the magnetic sound machine, and the little device connected to Miracle Radio, immediately sending out the sound from the radio. Although the reception was a bit weak, it could still be heard clearly. Other than that, there were 2 buttons that could switch channels. This is the video player function. Meng Yingying pressed another button on the video player, and the image transfer mirror screen began to change. It received several video channels, as well as a Miracle Shopping Center shopping channel. This meant that with this little thing in their hands, people could just lie down and buy things at home. This is the camera button. Meng Yingying pressed the camera button, and the lens on the back of the device activated. The image it captured was displayed on the image transfer mirror, and with a press of the camera button, it could instantly capture the image. This is the communication function. After activating the communication function, do you see these 10 little buttons? These are all 1 to 0 buttons, used to call the communication number. This is no different from the communication device. Yin Spirit said in a surprised voice, "This is too mysterious." She never thought there would be such a good thing. Good, very good. Vivian was also very satisfied. It really is much more convenient. Have you decided on the name of this thing? It can be held in the hand, and it is very convenient. It can combine the magnetic sound machine, video player, camera, and communication device functions into one. Of course, it needs a new name. Meng Yingying paused and cleared her throat before saying, after the chief designer Tong Xiaoyu, as well as Feng Kai Dai and big sister Yin Yao discussed it, we decided to call it cell phone. Cell phone, cell phone, this is quite appropriate. They held Miracle Commerce's first-generation cell phone and were happily playing with it at this moment. Inspire also liked it very much. There was no one who didn't like convenient things, not to mention the fact that the cell phone was this useful. The four of them studied the cell phone while eating and drinking. The four of them weren't big, but their appetites couldn't be underestimated. They didn't waste anything, eating most of the delicacies on the table. The one who ate the most was not Nangong Yun, but rather the small In Spirit. This was the first time she had enjoyed such a sumptuous meal. The enticement of the spirit energy delicacies made her fall. She had thoughts of quitting her position as sect master and coming here to eat and drink every day. The four of them went to the trial field after eating, and they forcefully dragged Chun Bingyu along the way. The Miracle City trial field had just released the Hell Demon Dragons trial, so the difficulty was very high. Recently, the theaters have been showing related movies, so naturally, there were many challengers. The trial field was filled with people until late at night. The demon dragon's strength was not fixed. It would weaken or strengthen according to the strength of the challengers. No matter who went into play, the challenges would be equally large. The five of them were tortured to death in the trial field, using all kinds of tactics, but they died to the demon dragon each time. But the more challenging it was, the more excited they became. When the sun rose, they had already failed for the 100th time, and they left in exhaustion. What was there to hesitate about? This time, In Spirit found Chu Tian and firmly expressed her willingness to join Miracle Commerce. She was willing to use the entire sect to support Miracle Commerce's development in the Great Zhou country. Even if it wasn't for the Black Moon sect, for her own entertainment, she would stay in Miracle City for a long time. This was simply heaven. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.